Photos are great and stuff, everybody.
What up, y'all? We live.
Whoop whoop to
The foot.
Piggy McMillan and to Foot and who in the hell that is.
Hell yeah. The foot.
That's
That's
a,
dope.
that's the new one.
Hell yeah.
I know Lorax I posted. Well, what's the other one behind you?
That's the Juckle Brothers. It's a fucking Tom Wood design.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Blacklight.
yeah, yeah. Now that you mention it, yeah, I can see it.
Hell yeah. Pretty fucking dope.
Oh yeah. Whoop whoop chose a good one in sub black in sub Tony. Huh?
Yeah, Black Dragon Lord. What up, Tony? What up, Charles? A good one. Sugar scoliosis. Whoop whoop.
And whoop show.
Hell yeah. Oh shit. Today's Sunday.
Uh,
The motherfucking 8th. March 8th already, dude.
China.
The winter went by so quick.
Oh yeah, totally did.
Not many more days till it'll be spring.
China.
12? 12 more days? Something like that.
Yeah, so something like
11?
that.
Hell yeah. Not much, Tony. Just chilling, man.
Yeah.
Time me the fuck out. Oh shit. What up, Dr. Shocker?
Uh, a shop circle.
Hell yeah. Oh, y'all have to excuse me for a minute. I gotta get my cigarettes.
Okay. Yes, it is. Church. Yes, it is. Huh. Stuff to the shitty. Yeah, we hope we're having a good Sunday. No idea what one's at.
Hell yeah. That's better. That's what's up, y'all. Fuck.
That's cool. That's cool to the shitty. I'm guessing he's doing so much with family. Huh?
Hell yeah. Who's that?
One.
Oh yeah, he said he wasn't feeling good or some shit.
Uh,
What up, Twisted Shady?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah, he said he wasn't feeling well. Should set this one out.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Hell no. Oh shit, man. What up, Danny boy?
Something boy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, big whoop, Danny boy. See.
So shit, man. The other day I was watching some shit.
Yeah.
And this dude walked a tightrope across the volcano. Took forever to get across that bitch, dude. But that shit was dope.
Uh, uh, I bet, and that's something I wouldn't even attempt to do. Oh,
Hell nah, dude. That shit was crazy. It was a big
uh,
fall too.
I bet, and it'd be a painful way to die too.
Oh my god, fuck yeah. I don't know how the fuck he did that shit. Like there ain't no way I'd be doing that.
I mean, either.
Dude, it's taller. It was a higher fall than the fucking Liberty Tower.
Sup, Papa? Sup, fan guy.
What up, Nintendo fan guy? Woo woo.
We're big whoop.
Hefty fine. Oh
Yeah.
shit. Tony Baloney. Oh shit, I see Papa in the chat even.
Yeah.
What's up, Papa?
Yeah, did you ever hook up to Vaporizers when in Chicago?
No, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Next time, though. Hopefully in May when I go back. It'll be
Oh,
nicer weather anyway.
oh yeah.
That'll be dope. We'll hook up, smoke down, all that good shit. Hell yeah. That's what's up. Oh, man. It's good to be back on the show, though, bro.
Uh,
Hell yeah, for sure.
Whoop Whoop, Wicked Juggalo. Yeah, did you see Bloated Kiki stream the other day?
Oh my god. Twisted tokens now? What?
Uh, I'm not surprised.
I mean, it is what it is, I guess.
Uh,
They want to do that, let them do it. Fuck it. But I think the fucking ICP token shit's dope. That shit's dope as fuck. You
oh
collect
yeah.
them all, you get a fucking. Well, you get a bowler's lot at the gathering for life
Yeah.
or whatever. Is that what it is?
Well, it is. It's cool as hell.
Yeah, it's dope. Fuck yeah. That's dope as shit.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
And of course, no, doing everything ICP does. Whoop Whoop goes to Detroit Underground.
Hell yeah. Get your J cards, y'all. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty dope, man.
Oh
I
yeah.
think it's dope they're doing that shit. I
Uh,
wonder how many
the,
people's actually going to go to them all. I know there will be some. I know we know some personally, probably.
Probably.
Hell yeah. Unfortunately, I will be unable to make them all. And how? What? Dude, that'd be sick.
Oh hell yeah. Yeah,
That's
that'd be
right, process.
that'd be cool.
Tales from the Lotus podcast for president. Have 3 acting presidents.
Uh,
Fuck it. Wicked shit cipher. Hell yeah.
uh,
Check out heart attack. Hell attacks the earth. Yeah, we have to listen to that shit. We need a 3 president system. Hell yeah. That's right. Shit. The world would be a much better place if we was in that bitch. Much better place.
that'd be,
We would make this shit fucking dope.
oh yeah.
That's what I'm saying, yo. Let me grab some fucking weed right quick.
Okay.
I gotta turn my camera off so fucking Brooklyn doesn't steal my background.
Yeah. 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 What do you think? I always told Mike him off.
Girl Scout cookies. We're fucking with the Girl Scout cookies.
Thanks.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, Girl Scout. America's blend. Oh man, it smells so good. Oh fuck. That sucks. I don't have papers, yo. I got these cheap ass papers, yo. Alongside man purse. Fuck. Oh shit, it's going viral. Warlock's side's got a man purse. Holds all his weed in it. All his papers, lighters, everything else. Tony would run this country with an iron fist. Hell yeah. Yeah, we'll vote you. We'll vote you as president, Tony. We'll make this bitch. We'll make America great again for real.
Oh
Yeah,
God, no! I God, no, it's legal. Hell no.
everything would be legal. Everything from coke to heroin would be legal. We'll make it all legal. You want to kill yourself, do yourself in? That's on you. I ain't gonna tell you what you can and can't do though. Dying for president? Hell yeah. That'd be dope.
All right.
Make me Secretary of State so I can make it a felony to shoot rabbits. Hell yeah. Yes, we would definitely do that.
Oh yeah.
Put you in charge of the Department of Justice. Hemp papers. You ever try these hemp papers out? See how good they fucking...
Right.
They stick together real fucking well. What
That's
the
good.
fuck? Not good. Well, with these motherfuckers. Garbage. These are emergency use only.
I can see
If you
that.
run out of regular papers, you got these motherfuckers for backup.
What bin of paper do you usually use?
Zigzag ultra thins. I like the ultra thins. These motherfuckers right here. Bam. These are my shit. These is my shit. Ooh-wee. Let's roll this bitch up. Oh, you bitch.
Anything does go better with a bag of weed.
Hell yeah. A bag of weed. Some motherfucking birth control. It all makes life better. We're gonna smoke it. Hell yeah. Motherfuckers.
That sucks twisted.
Try the CBD to give you a headache.
Uh,
Yeah. You're better off taking that shit with fucking different form other than smoking it. Tastes like shit when you smoke it. CBD weed.
I
You got
bet it
these
does.
CBD cigarettes. They taste like shit.
I bet they do.
They taste like a cheap ass bag of weed.
Oh, that's a gun from.
Suppository.
Yeah.
Yeah, shove it up your ass and love it.
Actually, I'm surprised they did make that one already.
That was a gummy? What the fuck?
Haven't tried any CBD gummies, but
Where'd you get the gummy from? You didn't buy it from a gas station, did you?
I get all my CB stuff from a page called Hazy Shade.
Wow. Ann Arbor. Yep. See, don't buy it from a gas station, man. I don't know what the fuck they put in that shit.
Uh,
That shit's horrible.
uh,
I got some THC gummies.
uh,
Those motherfuckers.
nice.
I don't have any on me, but I can go get some. And them things are fucking dope.
I bet they all.
Hell yeah. Dope as shit, yo.
I know they're all like wraps with like THC in them. No, with CBD in them. Stop Brooklyn.
Hell yeah.
Uh, yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do, Shitty.
That's right, Slim Shady. I mean, Twisted Shady.
Yeah.
Oh, man. You need a vaporizer, bro. I got right here, actually. What the fuck? I didn't realize it was sitting here.
Yeah, just chilling, Brooklyn.
This some bitch right here. See this thing?
Uh,
Got a hose over there. You
nice.
fill the hose up with weed. You put it in here. It heats up. You fucking heat it up to a certain temperature, and you let it fucking. You hit it. It's just vapor.
Oh, nice.
It's fucking great, man. You get fucked up. Kind of turns your weed brown. It doesn't burn it.
Uh,
You can turn around, resell it to some dumbass that'll buy it. If you want.
yeah, still don't mind trying some like THC gummies. That's what I heard of it.
Hell yeah. THC gummies are the shit. My homeboy makes them with some RSO, some honey oil, something else he puts in them.
Nice.
Fucking loaded with THC, bro. Them things are strong. You eat one, and you, because it takes a while for it to kick in. You
Yeah.
gotta start dissolving in your stomach and shit. And then if you don't realize that you're not feeling high or some shit, you're like, man, I gotta eat another one. I ain't high yet.
Uh,
Then you eat another one, and then when they finally kick in, dude, you're fucking annihilated.
I bet.
The longer they dissolve, the more high you get. It's crazy. And they're thick as fuck, so they dissolve for a while.
I bet.
Speaking of gummies, dude, I went to the mall yesterday. They had this big ass thing set up in the middle with a bunch of you scoop out your own gummy candy and shit.
Yeah.
And you had to pay about a pound. Dude, I fucking spent like $40 in candy yesterday.
God damn.
I went there high as fuck.
Well, no wonder you spent so much.
Yeah, bro. Like, I thought for sure it was only gonna be like $20 or some shit at the most. It was $40 fucking. I was like, whoa. Ultra Live Monster 5 star. I know, bro. I don't even know where. They show where it's gonna be at yet? What spots?
No idea.
It needs to be something Rox TV works on.
Definitely.
I wish we could. Killed. No, it's our turn to suffer. Yeah, that syrup chug was hard, man. I don't even know how he did that shit, bro. I'd have puked
Uh,
for sure.
yeah.
That shit
This
was
does seem like it'd be pretty brutal.
yeah, bro. The devil's toe or whatever the fuck that shit was, man. That shit looked fucking stupid. Whatever the fuck it was.
Sup, Donovan?
Donovan, look nasty. What's cracking? Oh man.
Thanks, Peggy.
Yeah, thank you. Having a good day so far. Getting high, hungover a little bit. Went to Applebee's yesterday. It was like $1 for Long Island. I ended up buying three, plus they fucking like two other people, not even our waitress, brought us like one each, two each, for me and my brother, and we're like, fuck it, yeah, those are ours, we'll take them. Shit, then we didn't have to pay for them. We're like, oh yeah, we got free drinks. We only had a limit to three, man. We had like five each. They just kept bringing them to us. I was like, shit, keep 'em
Thanks.
coming.
That's 24 hours.
What up, 24? Woo-hoo. Hell yeah. That shit was dope, bro.
Mm,
I came home and drank the rest of the beer I had in the fridge.
nice.
Some other shit. I don't drink very often, yeah. I don't like to drink. I don't like waking up with a
Actually,
headache.
the last time I had a beer was at the gathering.
Oh yeah? Damn. I keep beer in the fridge. I'll drink like one after work or whatever. But that's it. I don't drink more than that. I better smoke weed all fucking day. Be high all fucking day. At least I don't wake up feeling like shit. I woke up high before still. Like, got so fucking high, I fell asleep, fucking woke up high still.
I bet.
Hell yeah. That shit was cool. Anybody coming on? Oh. Yeah, hold on. Hold up. I forgot to send the link out. Mm-hmm. There we go. Link's been sent. Hopefully it'll come on. Damn, maybe. I mean, if you want to put the link in the chat, any y'all
Uh,
motherfuckers come on if you want.
Single we did already, but I'll put it again.
Hell yeah. Let me see here. What do we got going on in this bitch? Well, a few people is gonna have sending links out right now. We got what, 17 motherfuckers watching?
The 13.
13 people watching. Share this shit, y'all. What the
Uh,
fuck? That's a bad number, yo. We need to share this shit out there if y'all would. If y'all don't mind, smash the like button and share this shit. Get it out there. Wait for our guests to come on. They're coming on, hopefully.
yeah.
Sunday freshness. Man, we got a lot of freshness.
Uh,
We got Friday freshness. We got Thursday freshness.
well, that's because all the shit's fresh. Huh?
Hell yeah, all of our shit's fresh, y'all. Wake and bake, whatever. Yeah, bro. Hell yeah, I like to wake and bake too, man. That sets the mood for the whole day. You wake and bake, you fucking chill the whole day. I don't know what it is. Chill. Wake and bake is the best. You got that link, motherfuckers. Click this shit. Come on the show. Let's get crazy in this bitch. We'll talk about some crazy shit.
Yeah.
I know who I want to send that link to. Here we go. Link sent once again. Who else we get on this bitch? We got some people.
How to if you want to click, I think, man. Just don't think you've been on the show.
I got a surprise link I'm gonna send out. All right. We'll see what happens, y'all. You're gonna like this one.
Nice.
Man, that'd be dope. Send out 3 links.
Nice.
One of them's a surprise, and I'm hoping they come on, but we'll see. Oh, shit. So I'm starting to get the new setup put together. I got more to do, like a lot more. Oh, as you can see, look at this shit right here. Look at this. Bam! Got the 3rd installment of Sid Jones 3-book series.
Oh, nice.
I'm getting the other ones real soon, so. Oh, shit. It's Crazy McCormick.
What's up, Crazy?
Not much. Just chilling.
Yeah.
Nice outside. Spent a little bit of time with the 3-year-old. Got a basketball hoop.
Nice.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on that backstage, Josh. So what's up, Crazy? How you been, man?
I've been doing good. Fucking, if I'm not working, I'm playing video games.
That's what's up. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I think I don't know if I talked about this on the last time I was here, but yeah, I ended up getting my first Twitch check last month.
That's cool.
Dude, that's dope. Hell yeah. How much you gotta make on there to get paid through them guys? You gotta make $100 before they'll send you anything?
Yep, $100 just like YouTube.
Oh, hell yeah.
Took me 5 months to get that.
Damn, that ain't bad though, bro. It took us about 5 or 6 months to get our first pay from YouTube.
Right. And you guys grinded very hard with this channel too.
Wow.
Not, you know, like I think honestly though, with that super grind that you had, I'm sure that first YouTube check made it fucking worth it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh. The Scottish doing dabs?
CBD.
CBD. Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you know, excuse me, but you know, I'm not into that type of shit. But I kind of figured it was something to do with that. It was like, man, that's yeah, dude. Fucking, I know that's not Kool-Aid in that dauber.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like, fucking first Twitch check ended up coming in, and I fucking splurged.
Hell yeah, bro.
I mean, I talked about some of now. Actually, I think there was an episode I did talk about a couple of things that I bought. One of them, I ended up getting like a Bluetooth board for the NES controller, so now this is Bluetooth.
What?
Yeah.
Dude.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, you clown?
What up, B-Clown?
Yeah,
and then
did you get that shirt yet?
There's that too.
Hell yeah, bro.
What is it?
Bluetooth connection?
It's a Bluetooth receiver, plugs right into the Nintendo.
Oh, nice.
Dude, that's so dope.
$40, but shit, as far as I'm concerned, that shit's worth it.
Yeah, bro. That's dope.
Some of the other things that I ended up doing, I had to get new USB ports for the PS4 controllers.
Yeah.
I have 3 of them. 2 of them couldn't charge because the Bluetooth receivers were all fucked up. Because you know, like you stick the charge cord into the port and push it in, pull it out, like over and over and over again for a course of some time. Eventually, that gets loose and it gets all fucked up.
Hell yeah.
But what fucked me up though about that was when I ended up looking into it to try to see how much it was going to cost. For one, it was very cheap, but there's apparently 3 different styles of Bluetooth, like the USB ports that they've used over the years for the controllers. So I had to take the controller apart, find out which one it was specifically, and then order the parts, which already came in. So I ended up taking care of that. So now I have 3, fully capable to charge fucking controllers.
That's cool.
Now I just need one more, so that way I can try to take advantage of the PS4's fucking 4-player game capabilities.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so far the only one that I have is like, because like the PlayStation comes with the game called Playroom,
Yeah.
which is utilized with the PlayStation camera.
Yeah.
So there's like one that my kids like to play where it's like you're a ninja fucking throwing shurikens at enemies and you're just running across a fucking maze or something.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting for kids, but I'm just like, whatever. Another thing I ended up getting, ordering a PS2. Somebody donated me a Nintendo 64.
Oh, nice.
Dude, that'd be dope, man. I want one of them so bad.
A Nintendo 64.
Fuck yeah, bro.
Yeah, I never paid this.
That was my shit, bro. Like, Mario 64 was probably the best fucking Mario ever, bro. I swear to God, I love that shit.
Everybody loves that game.
Dude, Mario Kart, James Bond, dude, that shit, that GoldenEye, oh my God, bro. Spent fucking days on that shit.
Just a forewarning to your audience, this is what happens when these motherfuckers invite me to Tales from the Lotus podcast. It's going to turn into Tales from the Video Game podcast.
Hell yeah.
Along with it, like, this is actually due to my boy Damon Rebel, who used to be a part of JFL. Yeah. And he's been out of it for that for a long time. He hates a vast majority of the people that were there, but I've always been cool with him, so he knew that I would really appreciate this. Getting an to be totally honest, I really wasn't accepting somebody to just be like, you need a Nintendo 64? Here. And while we're at it, we're also going to give you Turok 2 and Turok 3 and Pokemon Snap for the kids.
Turok was dope, bro.
I liked the first Turok. I never got into the second or third one.
Yeah, I mean,
but I'm not a huge Turok fan. Like after Halo got out of control and 9/11 happened, I kind of like stepped away from FPS games because it started to feel like all 3 companies were sucking Tom Clancy's dick.
Yes.
With like, oh, we're gonna make a video game adaptation FPS of this book. Oh, Splinter Cell. Oh, hell yeah, Rainbow Six. Here we go. Just like, shut the fuck up. No, like, sorry, but like there's only 3 games that are actually the best first-person shooters ever: Wolfenstein 3D, Doom, and GoldenEye 007. I bet a bunch of people were probably thinking I was going to say Duke Nukem, but no, it's GoldenEye. GoldenEye 007 for the Nintendo 64.
Fucking fresh, bro.
One of the things too is I was like, I tried playing Pokemon Snap. I remember renting it from Family Video a long time ago, and I never really liked Pokemon Snap. And then there's Turok 2 and 3, which, I have to jump back into I am slowly jumping back into the first-person shooter genre. Because of Juggalo John from the Bender Boys, he ended up actually telling me about this one game called Don't Even Think on the PlayStation 4, and I've been live streaming that on my Modern Gaming channel.
Is it any good?
Oh, dude, it's fucking boss. Like, you'll fucking come sitting in your fucking throne playing that game. Yeah. Like, the idea behind that game is, like, you are in a crew of 3 people.
Josh, you got somebody backstage.
And you got, like, a bunch of, you've got, like, a bunch of other crews, and then you got 3 other people on the opposite side that are playing as werewolves. So, like, within the first 2 minutes of the game, as a werewolf, you're in human form. And after 2 minutes, you turn into the werewolf where Basically, oh shit.
He says, "Oh shit."
Wow, I just interrupted everything. The fact that my sheer appearance can just make people go, whatever I was talking about, fucking, it's gone.
No, like we're gonna be like I'm just sitting here talking about fucking video games and shit. And the minute I see Sid Jones up on here, the first thing I'm thinking is, oh great, we're gonna get into politics. Like, no, we want to talk about video games, fart, and dick jokes.
Well, I gotta tell you, the
I love
Punisher
you, Sid.
PS2 game is actually probably one of my all-time favorites.
Which one?
There's more than one PS2 Punisher game?
Oh, okay. There's Punisher. Okay, I never played Punisher.
It's actually really good. It's got like a comic book, like, so it holds up, right? Because it's designed like a comic book, and there's like, cutscenes, and it's like the whole story that leads up to Rikers Island. It's a damn good game.
So far, oh yeah, this is another thing that I actually got with my Twitch money, and it's because I have to fanboyism.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
Dirge of Cerberus, Final Fantasy VII. It takes place 2 years after the Advent Children movie.
That's one of the games I want to play.
What's that?
That's one of the games I want to play.
Oh, dude, this game is badass. So it's a first-person shooter action RPG element type of game.
I think the best first-person shooter games were the Umbrella games for Wii, for Resident Evil. Have you played those?
Mm-mm.
The Umbrella Chronicles.
No,
It's like playing an old arcade game where instead of like you moving around, like the screen moves for you, and all you got to do is point and shoot. It's pretty dope.
That sounds almost like Lethal Enforcers for the fucking Sega Genesis.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I fucking
Oh
don't
my
know.
god. Oh, talk about, okay. Now we're talking my level, alright?
that's up, Tony.
Sega Genesis was my game, man.
Genesis does.
I'm sorry, but I was a Sonic fan.
Oh, my son is. My son is a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fan.
Oh, nice.
But, so some of the other things that I ended up getting with that Twitch check, I ended up having to get this for the Nintendo 64.
Oh, shit.
WWF WrestleMania 2000. The only reason why I got 2000 was because No Mercy wasn't in the store. I also had to get a memory card for both PlayStation 2.
Please tell me you got GoldenEye.
Not yet.
What?
Fuck you. I just got the Nintendo 64.
Fuck me. The
Fuck
game
you.
that spawned shooters the way they are now, and you're just like, I'm gonna get WrestleMania 2000, which was subpar in comparison to the majority of the games that were coming out at that time.
Dude, there are a lot of memories that I have with the WrestleMania 2000 game, and also No Mercy. Like GoldenEye, you know what my most prominent memory with GoldenEye was?
Getting your ass kicked.
Yes, because my friend Trevor would play an odd job in the multiplayer deathmatch games. He would play his odd job and crouch. And the only way to hit him was to punch him in the face for real because he would not stop. It was like, he's like, it's not my fault you decided to play as Jaws. I'm like, fuck you, Jaws is awesome. What do you got, odd job? The motherfucker throws a hat.
That was the same thing in Nightfire. Hands down, probably still one of the better Bond games. The only thing that sucks is you don't get to like pick individual weapons. It's like class of weapons. But the maps are actually pretty decent size. If you've never played James Bond Nightfire, it's fucking sick.
Oh, Nightfire, that was awesome.
Now,
Dude, Nightfire was prime. Rogue Agent was pretty dope too, but it was really glitchy.
Now, don't get me wrong. I do plan on getting GoldenEye. Hell, I plan on getting Superman 64. It's going to take some time, but
Yeah, but I would have put GoldenEye over WrestleMania 2000 was my point. I mean, you thought I was going to come out here and talk politics. Meanwhile, I can parlay on some video games.
Hell yeah.
I love this shit. I just felt like giving you some
I have all the Splinter Cell games.
Oh, get away with
For
me.
my GameCube.
Didn't
the
I
Tom Clancy
just
ones?
troll the
Yeah.
Tom Clancy games just like 5 minutes ago?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
That's why you had to come up on here and be like, I have Splinter Cell.
No, I didn't come up on here, man.
It's like, I have Splinter Cell, Crazy McCormick. Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
The final thing, though, that I do have to make mention, I got this stuff on the way as of right now. I found a 500 gigabyte PATA hard disk drive that I'm planning on putting into my PlayStation 2, because you know how they used to have like the 40 gigs so you could play Final Fantasy 11?
Yeah.
Now, is that only for the big console though, like the thick one that looks like a?
Yes.
Oh, that sucks.
Now, this is interesting, though. I actually found out that there's a way to utilize an hard disk drive on the Slimline, but you have to have like a bunch of different programs that you need to install onto a fucking PlayStation 2 memory card. It's called Free McBoot. You basically start from there, and that actually utilizes the capabilities of the PlayStation 2. So it kind of like it in a way it kind of actually cracks it kind of cracks the fucking the system a little bit. You know, with the Slimline, what it does is it makes it so it's not necessarily like an internal hard drive. You have to have an external one that's USB, probably 2.0.
Twisted Shady says, "Look, Sid Jones looked like the dude from Taxi. Taxi the video game or Taxi Driver the movie?
I think he's talking about Taxi, the TV show.
The TV show? There's a lot of things titled Taxi apparently.
Wait, what are you talking about, Twisted Shady? He looks like Judd Hirsch.
Nah, I was thinking more
Judd
about.
Hirsch with a mohawk.
Nah, I was thinking more about. I was thinking more of Taxi Driver.
Share this with my people real quick.
Oh, he's saying the movie. So I have that coming. 500 gigs sounded like pretty pristine.
Oh, yeah.
It's the biggest one that I could find for $25. Like, but you know, like these are the older, outdated models because they moved from PATA to SATA, even though they're both IDE style. The difference is the PATA has like all those little pins in the inside that helps connect to the network adapter, which my PlayStation 2 actually came with a network adapter when I got it on eBay.
Nice.
And then, but I also found that you can add SATA style hard drives, which is just that little thin line. But in order to utilize that, you have to find a hardware mod for the network adapter to replace the PATA with an SATA port. And then after that, you can get probably up to about 2 terabytes of hard drive space.
Oh, nice.
Now, you would think that, okay, yeah, you really don't need 2 terabytes of hard drive space, do you?
Not for PS2.
Yeah.
For PS3 or 4, yeah.
Well, for the PS2, 2 terabytes is where it's at. I mean, once I get this 500 gig hard drive, technically, it's already going to have a bigger hard drive space than my PlayStation 3. And the equal amount to my PlayStation 4, which I did actually find out you can bump that up. The PS4, you can bump it all the way up to 8 terabytes as of right now due to certain firmware updates.
Now, I got to ask you something, being the video game guy, and I don't know if you've been paying attention to what we've been talking about on Sid Talks, which is 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturdays and Mondays, but we talk about the future a little bit, and I'm curious, the PlayStation 5, all this money that's going towards all these different terabytes, and I don't understand technology or video game platforms or systems. I just know I plug them in and sometimes they work. So it's a start. But the PlayStation 5 and Xbox's 365, whatever they decide to come out with, what's it looking like for the gaming for the future? Because we thought Wii was going to be groundbreaking, and as it turned out, Wii did great in its opening weekend, or opening week, whatever, and then slowly sales dwindled significantly. And I'm not even sure if they're still like updating the Wii systems.
I haven't figured out much about. I haven't looked really that deep into the Wii or anything. But when you're talking about the current, like the next gen systems, I'm thinking that like there has been rumors flying around, and some people have said that it has been confirmed that the PS5 will be fully backward compatible all the way up to PlayStation 1.
Right. Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Now, I have not heard anything about whether or not that's the same thing going for the Xbox Series, the new one, the Series X, I think is what it's being called right now.
Something like that.
Yeah, I have not heard anything about it. It would be nice if it was fully backward compatible. But
because that would make it so that way you could get the PlayStation 5 and then play all these different systems. But do you think that it's going to cause this? Because you remember back when, PlayStation 2 on the bigger components, like you were talking about earlier, I noticed they'd heat up and they die out much faster.
It really depends on the extent of the gameplay. Like if you just have massive gameplay, which I used to a lot, back in my day, I used to play like 5-hour days of video gameplay. Sometimes
Well, it
even
sounds
more.
like you still have a lot of gameplay in you, which is why a man of your stature, video game wise, would be concerned getting the bigger box because I didn't play video games for hours upon hours on end growing up. But eventually, the big systems that we got 2 of them, the bigger PlayStation 2 model broke, but I've got a PlayStation 2 Slim model that I got in 2005, 2006, and it still runs. I mean, you've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it. I mean, like my PlayStation 3, when I first ended up getting it, I think it lasted 2 years before it actually started getting the it ended up getting the blinking light of doom. And the reason why I found out was because of the way that they did stuff inside the system internally. Because back in the day, there was a lot of lead-based soldering. Now they're using non-lead-based soldering, which doesn't hold heat as well as the lead-based soldering. It's supposed to be like, okay, if this little munchkin was somehow able to figure out how to crack open the top of the PlayStation 3, take it out, take off the top, unscrew the top, pull that out, take all of the internal stuff out of it, find where the lead-based solder was, scrape it off, and eat it, you could die. But that's a lot of stuff that you've got to do in order to get, in order to have a Sony-assisted suicide. But they were just like, just in case, we're going to use this non-lead-based solder. Eventually, that stuff heats up to a point where it ends up melting into nothing, and it just screws everything up into the system. I found this out when my PlayStation 3 bricked, and I had to go get it fixed. And they said, okay, now we just replaced it with lead-based solder, so you should be able to hold it a little bit longer. You should be able to play it once again. Of course, they gave it back to me, and they gave me a motherboard that didn't have the graphics effects chip for the PlayStation 2 to be able to emulate the PlayStation 2 game capabilities. Because I actually did have a PS2 backward-compatible PS3. And when they replaced it, they gave it back to me, and And the first thing I wanted to do was fucking play Final Fantasy XI, and it couldn't because it couldn't read the discs anymore. But I think it's but this is the way systems are now, where it's going to be like non-lead based solder. Because think of the children. How are if they were to somehow figure out, which I probably could have by his age, figured out how to crack this open and reverse engineer it.
Mr. Jones.
What do you want?
Hey, Freddie, what's up?
Hey, my boy said, hey, Sid.
What's up, brother? So back to the PlayStation 5 thing right quick.
So
I feel like that having a PlayStation 5 would make it so that way all these systems could also go obsolete and you can keep the collection of games that you have. Obviously, they're not going to keep making games for PlayStation 2, but are we going to start seeing video games that go from, levels like, Call of Duty, where it only becomes online? Like you don't get to do the multiplayer, like sitting in your room next to your friend, like your friend has to go onto another TV, another system to play against you. Like, are we going to start seeing that die out? Because as time goes on and video games and platforms and what have you evolve, we start to see that there's less and less things that we don't need anymore. So you're not going to see those 2 controller things anymore. I mean, we've got wireless controllers and such, but are they going to get rid of that and try and use what they would use for backing up those controllers into something else?
Okay, so you're talking about the death of multiplayer capabilities offline, like just two bros on the same system, that kind of thing. It has slowed down over the last 20 years. Like I remember when the PlayStation 2 came out, let's use WWF SmackDown, just bring it as an example. 4 players, 8 people on, 8 characters on the same screen. The next game, what was it? Shut Your Mouth.
Yep.
The next game. 6 players all able to play at the same time. Now we have, and it's been like that up until, through the SmackDown series, the SmackDown versus Raw series, and now we are going through the 2K series on the PlayStation 4 and on the Xbox One. It's now died down to 4. Okay, you can stop that. It's now died down to 4. Some games, like slowly but surely, that is slowly being phased out, and it is bringing more multiplayer online into the situation. So
I can start seeing like games that have levels and things like that start to fade out as well.
Probably. I mean, most of the games that are going in, like, there's no more about levels. It's levels and storyline kind of are the same thing, but most people just don't call them levels anymore. It's now more along like chapters or storyline, that type of thing. But I honestly think I personally think Xbox has tried to do almost everything in their power to make it so even creating a storyline in and of itself was like a passe thing of the past kind of thing, which is stupid.
Well, and it sucks too, because you got to think, and pardon me for discussing economics real quick, but that means you've got screenwriters, the Screenwriters Guild, they're going to be out of work as far as video games. So basically it's going to be voiceovers, and I mean, even if there's no storylines, you've got no voiceover that's necessary, except for when you're doing multiplayer and there's like some gabbing or whatever for like background noise and what have you, which you could easily just do an overlap of, from various games. And because, same properties and such, you could use like old Call of Duty from, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, whatever, and put it into the newest game. You don't even need voice actors anymore. And that's going to make it so that way it's less spending on screenwriters and actors, voice actors, and it's going to focus more on just us playing video games. And that's another thing that I'm concerned about, is how video games like this, how systems like this continue to evolve, what it's going to do long term, because one of the things I absolutely love are the storylines. Medal of Honor, love the storylines. There's a Call of Duty game where you actually, like, at the end of the game, spoiler alert for those of you that play Call of Duty throughout the levels, as you should, you actually walk through this concentration camp that's completely decimated, and it's so powerful. Like, you're a part of this story. And me being a writer, stories are very important to me, so I can actually kind of connect with whatever's going on, even if I don't know what soldiers what general does what. I'm at least connected with the story, even if I'm not through with the characters.
Unfortunately, I think as of this point, some of the few games that are actually going to be storyline driven are going to be role playing games, and that's about it. Like, if you just because like we're starting to reach towards we're reaching towards like MMORPGs almost becoming the norm, especially since it's like, you buy the game and then you have to buy like a monthly package in order to fucking play this thing.
Role-playing games, I never got into Final Fantasy because it was set up a lot like Pokemon, where it's like you'd click and then you'd attack, and then it has a chance to attack you. You don't get to just move and like have free play. Are those kind of role-playing games extinct, essentially?
Turn-based strategy, yes. Is actually over and done with, I'd say, at this point. Aside from playing Pokemon is always going to be turn-based like that. I just recently played the demo for Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Same here.
Which, if you haven't, I don't know what you're doing with your life at this point, but like
I'm playing PlayStation 2 is what I'm doing with my life.
Well, I'm playing everything. Everything.
Well, while you're busy playing games, I actually write. So it's like, while Ashley or somebody who I'm hanging out with, they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna go play video games for a bit." I'm like, she likes playing Sims. I'm like, I write books with my own characters, so it's like it's like playing Sims. It's like the role of God almost when it comes to writing. And again, that's one of the things that concerns me when it comes to storytellers. Because
that's D&D, bro.
What?
I said that's D&D, bro. You're a DM, man. Like. And I was wondering why grains of sand was sitting in the background.
Grains of sand, it's grains of Grades of Chaos.
Grades
Actually,
of Chaos. Okay, like I ended up reading that wrong, but nevertheless, yeah, there. I plugged it for you, even though I fucked it up. There, that way I didn't have to explain it. You know, and you didn't have to fucking plug it yourself. What's that?
I actually will or you plugged it.
I did submit another novel to Amazon, so in 72 hours that will come out. You guys actually get the exclusive on that.
Nice.
It's Reapers 2, a sequel to the original that I wrote 10 years ago. So it was only fitting that in 2020 I release Reapers 2.
Oh, nice.
Okay. I just figured out, you know, I'm just poking the bear with you, man, but you're my friend.
No,
so I do it.
Discuss to me about my writing that you haven't read yet. I'd love to hear your input on the writing that you haven't read. That would to me be some of the best entertainment ever.
God damn it. No, trust me, eventually I'll get around to it, but I'm just not a reader.
No, that's another thing I want to bring up too, and I think that's one of the reasons why I'm so hell bent with writing for whatever it is, whether it's television shows or movies or video games. That writing is so important, telling stories is so important, and that's an art that's slowly starting to die out as well. And that's one of the reasons why I advocate for games where you play through the levels.
I appreciate people who do.
You can have different maps or whatever, but we're going to end up at some point ending up, and again, apologize if economics ties into your whole political thing.
No, it's true.
But have you seen the movie Gamer with Gerard Butler?
Gerard Butler? I think I might have, but I might have to.
Where the guy's in prison and he's being controlled by this one kid, and he's got to like survive all these different levels, but he's an actual person that's like a game. It's people playing people is what it is. And then there's the Sims world, basically, where you get to go and control like whatever, and you get paid to be controlled.
Okay, yeah, I have not seen that, but I know what you're talking about.
Well, yeah, I seen the title, but I haven't seen it.
I loved that movie, and one of the things that echoed in my mind is at what point is it going to become that? Because the more the games evolve, I mean, when we came out, that was groundbreaking.
I mean, do you remember when the PlayStation 2 was having that PlayStation 9 advertisement?
What advertisement?
Like, remember when the PlayStation 2 came out in 2000? Their advertising campaign was actually like showing a future where all the PlayStation was like a chip on the side of your head, where the game actually is on the inside of your mind.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was like PlayStation 9, and we're like halfway there. I bet you by what you're talking about is probably going to be out by PlayStation 10, where it's like it's not even in your mind; it's fucking you.
So it's like you're going on a 15-minute break from work, and you just like plug your brain in, and like this like 3D thing pops from your eyeballs.
That would be awesome.
Dude, I would totally
be
like,
awesome.
yeah, sorry, man, I was late getting back from my break, but I had to go, shoot some zombies in my head.
Well, the holodeck from Star Trek would be cool.
Star Trek.
My God, you guys ever play the game Deus Ex?
Sid Jones would play as the ensign in the Star Trek.
I've always wanted his sunglasses. That would be awesome.
I'm fucking with you. I can't help it. It's just so fun to poke fun at everybody. But at least you're a good sport, Sid.
I try to be.
Oh no, you just are, dude. Like I think what it is like you and I have a good friendship, so it's a point where it's like that I'm gonna fuck with you.
Right. I mean, dude, for years, you know what I'm saying? Like even when we did that little, back and forth, a couple years back, God, time flies, man, doesn't it?
So, dude, like the first thing that you did was you were like sitting just like you are in front of your house on your porch, and you're like, "Show me your butthole." This had to, like something along the lines of this had to be said at the Juggalo March.
That's what you said during the Juggalo March in Washington, D.C.
I did.
Classic.
I made the Washington Post.
But what's funny is people didn't understand that when I would do things like that, like just come out and say something, like you saw what happened. I showed up, you were in mid-sentence, and just suddenly, that's one of the things I love doing. So when people are like shocked or upset by the things that I say, I'm like, would you expect anything less?
You just had to show that off.
You ruined one of your hats? Oh, is that the DCG one?
No, it's not the DCG one. This is one of my older ones.
It's a Juggalo
Crazy
hat.
spent 18 hours each way to Denver with Sid. Sid talked the whole time.
What's up, though?
This
And we
Kind
listened
of-
to the Lars album.
is-
Well, yeah. There was that too. Like while Sid was in the car, we also listened to Lars.
That was a good album, man. Lars was a good project. It's too bad that it's done with.
Skeletor was $2 with it.
I mean-
Stepped on video game talk. So gay Juggalette for life.
That doesn't that seem kind of like you got a Juggalette guy talking about video games? So.
I mean, what does Skeletor want us to discuss? I love that. It's one of my favorite things. It's like, don't talk about this. I'm like, well, do you have any other fucking input?
Queasy, what do you think? What do you think about Final Fantasy VII demo?
Dude, it was epic. I thought it was like words cannot describe at this point. You can hear me stammering. Like seeing how the game is played because it's more action based than anything else. I thought this was really hilarious to me. Was when you start off in the first two soldiers that you end up fighting, right after you get off the train. And immediately you're up to, you leveled up to level 7, just like the first game. And I almost fell off my chair laughing. But but seeing how everything looked in comparison, they added a couple of things, kind of extended the storyline a little bit, just like in little bits and pieces. You can hear conversation during the battle scenes between Cloud and Barrett, Jesse, Biggs, Wedge. You hear a little bit of audio coming out of Aerith at the very beginning of the game. The Midgar itself from the outside and the inside throughout all of the entire sector looks entirely fucking beautiful. Even when you get down to the Mako reactor and you can see the Mako pool, it looks so realistic.
Oh yeah.
The fighting for it is totally beautiful. Like I am looking forward to this game.
Me too.
Like I saw the advertisement for Doom Eternal as well, and that looked great. But I'm too big of a fanboy to pass up on Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh no, it's the same here.
So this is a reboot that they're doing instead of like adding anything to.
It's a whole remake.
There's a
Right.
difference between a reboot and a remake. Like the remake basically is they're using the exact same storyline, but in this situation, because of it being the PlayStation 4, it's going to be totally, it's no longer pixelation anymore. It's gone beyond that. I remember when I was a kid, I didn't think sprites was going to be a passe thing, and then they came out with pixelation, and pixelation was awesome because that created 3D rendering. And now pixelation is kind of passe because it's onto something else. I don't even know what the fuck it's called. But so like with the PS4, with the way that it is, it's everything now is, everything now doesn't look like a triangle.
Two
Cloud-
questions for you.
The characters don't even look like, blocks or anything like that anymore. Everything's been polished.
Oh, come on now. Remember Tomb Raider. Oh,
Yeah. Yes.
Amazing graphics.
Pointy titties.
So I got two questions for you. One, why are we seeing reboots in remakes in video games and film rather than new ideas? Second question, why was Final Fantasy VII, of all the games, why was that one chosen as to be rebooted / remade?
Okay, so first off, that's actually your first question. I honestly think that what it is and this I wouldn't say this goes into video game companies primarily because most of that's just the full-on remakes because they've made the Spyro trilogy remake, and all it is it's the exact same game just with more polished graphics. The same thing with the Crash Bandicoot trilogy. Same precedents. The movie industry, on the other hand, that pisses me off because the only thing That's all they ever want to do is reboots. They want to take what used to be a good franchise, change it up enough to where it makes it kind of look like it's different, and then put it out into theaters without having to really put any additional thought process into the writing of the movie. All it is basically is just alternate direction. And like as an example, okay, so you've got all these different reboots with like we'll even go into the horror movie genre. Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, all of them garbage. I don't care if anybody tries to argue with me the Halloween reboots that Rob Zombie did. As far as I'm concerned, the originals were garbage. They're only basically doing this as some sort of a cash grab. Why is it? And I'm serious when I say this. Why is it that the most interesting story that I have seen in movies so far in the last 15 years has actually involved a blue hedgehog that isn't even a real character?
Are you talking movies in general? Wait, hold up. Are you talking about movies in general?
I'm talking about basically like when it concerns like remakes, they take all of these popular characters, like Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, Leatherface. Outside of horror, they tried to reboot RoboCop. They tried to reboot Terminator with Terminator Genesis, which is one of the few reboots that I actually enjoyed.
It was pretty good.
But it's a long shot when it concerns taking a popular franchise character, repackaging it into making it something completely different and expecting a positive outcome of it.
Well, what about new ideas? What about new ideas? You've got John Wick, an amazing trilogy, by the way, like spot on, fucking great. They just keep getting better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and all over, and all over because somebody killed his dog.
Right.
Taken, but by the third movie, you kind of tend to realize that Liam Neeson's not really that good of a father.
Right. You kind of failed in that regard. And that's why I thought that, with John Wick, I feel like that the movies just keep getting better. Like John Wick Parabellum, hands down, top 3 movies that came out last year.
I mean, there's like very far in between actual good fucking movie ideas. But then by the time you end up seeing, there's like an 8th or 9th Fast and the Furious movie, it's like, come on, dude. Like, you've seen enough, and it's pointless to see it without Paul.
Yeah, I mean, I think I tapped out after his last movie. I think I was done with Fast and Furious. And I thought the Hobbs and Shaw thing I thought was a joke. I didn't think they were actually going to make it into a movie, and then they made it into a movie. I'm like, I've got very little self-respect, very little dignity left that I'm not going to spend it on seeing these films.
Right. See, the unfortunate thing is like, okay, there's very few good movies that are out nowadays. And I don't know. I don't think it's my age that's saying this. I think it's actually just the person who wants to watch good quality shit and it's not being produced. Instead, you get stuff that has a bunch of McCarthyisms in it, because of Melissa McCarthy and Paul Feig, who's a horrible fucking writer.
Wow, we actually agree on something. I'm fucking shocked.
I mean, like that. Like I watched Bridesmaids. That was a joke. Spy. That was a joke. Ghostbusters. Kill me. Like I'm living in hell. Like I see
that movie.
It's horrible. Like it's just horrible. And it's another example of a fucking reboot where they take a good movie and they polish it up, try to put some libtard bullshit into it and spin like some sort of a feminazi kind of addition to the storyline. They were like, we're progressive because it's girls. Fuck you. Where's Winston Zedmore? Oh, he's he owns a fucking mortuary now.
I just got to give you props real quick. That was like an almost perfect Jeff Goldblum tangent you went on from the first Jurassic Park film.
Ah, yes.
Actually, I did. I saw like the Ghostbusters reboot, but I do see why people didn't like it.
No, like, what was the finishing blow on the fucking Ghostbusters logo monster at the end of the movie? Let's shoot him in the proton pack in the balls. Femdom. No, like I've been saying this ever since I first saw the Friday the 13th reboot. They should take shitty movies like Ishtar and they should repackage those and make it good. Don't take King Kong and repackage it. Don't take Planet of the Apes and repackage it. Don't take Nightmare on Elm Street and repackage it. I don't care what you do with Hellraiser because I can give a shit less about Hellraiser. You know,
The new Hellraiser movie, the most recent one, was actually fucking dope. Like,
reboot Ghoulies, reboot The Gates, reboot Monster Squad. They could have probably done that in Universal.
have you seen the reboot of Gremlins though?
I saw a reboot of The Mummy and I wanted to cry.
I did see that one.
Yeah, like
Oh
they
my God,
tried
it's
to
terrible.
take the classic monster characters and they tried to turn it into a universe, just like Marvel did with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, just like DC did with the DC universe now.
Uh,
DC can't do shit with their characters.
I think DC was trying too hard to do what Marvel did.
No, they tried to rush it to try to catch up to Marvel and how
Yeah.
they did it. Marvel took their time. And you know, like the classic monster movie characters, like vampires and werewolves and Frankenstein, the creature from the Black Lagoon, the Mummy, and they started off with the Mummy and they threw Tom Cruise in it. I'm sick of Tom Cruise. No, he's Ethan Hunt. Leave him on fucking Mission Impossible movies. That's where he's
Okay.
that's
All
where
right.
he's
So-
prominent as of right now.
I want to kind of, this is actually a perfect time to be tying this perfectly. So you were talking about Ghostbusters and how there was like a political message behind it, right?
Yeah.
And it was marketed that way. They said that this was going to be an all-female cast. They went out there with that motive, right?
They put a fucking queef joke in the first half hour of the movie,
Right.
and it
So
wasn't even funny.
Was that it went in there with that motive? Have you seen? I think it was Mission Impossible Fallout. Have you seen that?
No.
Okay,
I
so
stopped after 3.
okay, so it's actually dope. But there's two different things that I've noticed, and this is why I bring it up. In Mission Impossible Fallout, there's actually like a bad guy that they go against where you're kind of like, wait, hold up. I want to hear him out real quick. I actually want to hear what this man has to say because I think he's got a valid point. And it becomes like a political message in through that where it's the story, right? So it's a political message through story, but you make a story towards with a political agenda to it. So it's the same thing, but it's reversed. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like opposite ends of a turbine, still going the same way. And I feel like that what I think people are sick of is they're not sick of political messages in films. They're sick of movie makers coming out with a movie because of a political message.
Yeah, we want to be entertained. We don't want politics shoved down our throats. And you can't be entertaining and political in most cases at the same, especially with how political Ghostbusters was.
Hold on.
I could not be entertained by that because of that.
I can actually upgrade political film. If you look at Gamer, political film. If you look at The Purge, political films. If you look at, what was the other one? It was fucking Prime. It's like the perfect analogy. Damn it, and I lost it. Fuck.
The Running Man. Now that actually has some sort of a, that did also have some sort of a political message where government ended up actually being able to take over entertainment. That's what's happening right now.
So that's the one.
They've been had control of that shit.
Still entertaining.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can't help but be entertained when you hear no, get down.
Get to the chopper.
That was a different movie.
Oh yeah. Okay.
No, this one is like, damn that Killian. You live on the other side of your life. They can't afford it. They get the police. They get the 100,000 dogs, and they hunt us down like dogs off camera, of course. Like that type of shit. I'll be back. Only
Right.
when you're done.
But there's an entertainment aspect where like Demolition Man is hands down a damn near perfect movie.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Donovan McNasty said that Gremlins was a political film.
Yeah.
Right? Don't give Trump water or else he'll multiply.
Turn into a fucking monster.
No, that's if you feed him after midnight.
Yeah.
All
Oh yeah.
turn green in his hands and
Hell yeah.
normal size.
So back to my second question I asked you. Of all the video games, of all the Final Fantasies, why do you think they did a reboot remake for Final Fantasy VII of all of them?
I think mostly nostalgia reasons.
I see
I'll
that
tell you
one.
why.
Thank you.
I'll
Hell
tell you
yeah.
why. And it's only one word: storyline.
Yeah.
Okay.
The storyline for Final Fantasy was probably the most incredibly interesting, original, and fucked up story out of the entire Final Fantasy franchise. They tried to replicate a storyline style like that, where it was just like, thrown an M. Night Shyamalan type, twist on it or something like that. They tried all different types of storyline, but this one, honestly, for one, in the storyline, it's probably the most like where it's like it starts off in the middle of a storyline, then it goes back. It shows a bunch of different unique and horrific background stories behind each character. How is it that they all tied together with coming into Shinra? Like, how is it that they're all somehow involved with Sephiroth? How did Sephiroth become as morbid and evil and psychotic as he is?
Yeah.
What's the real past behind Cloud? What, like all of these different mysteries that go into the storyline. Not to mention within the story in and of itself, the first time in Final Fantasy history where a main character is murdered, and it actually causes you as a player to be able to feel the pain of the entire party. Like, I literally cried when Aerith died the first time I played it. I literally sat there crying. As much fun as Final Fantasy VI was, Final Fantasy VII was the one that actually brought me myself into the story, and I felt something, all sorts of emotion throughout the entire game. That's why Final Fantasy is the most popular. Final Fantasy VII is the most popular of the entire series. Out of 15 games, that is the most popular of the series. And that's the one why it's been clamored for the most since the tail end of PlayStation 2. People have wanted Final Fantasy VII rebooted.
My next question is, you were talking about, like, oh, what made this person so evil? What were their motives? This goes towards horror films. This goes towards reboots, remakes, video games, and so on. My question then becomes, and this was argued with Halloween 2 with Rob Zombie, which, by the way, he didn't want to even make that movie. He was blackmailed into it. I can go that like 15 seconds. I can tell you about that. But they're saying that origin stories are actually what makes a horror icon less scary. By knowing what they were as a younger person, giving them backstory actually makes them less scary.
I mean, like, when you watch throughout, like, okay, one of my favorite franchises is the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. As you progress watching through the story, you get a little bit of a piece here and there about what makes Freddy the way that he is. Why does he murder, and why does he play why does he play with his prey like a cat plays with a mouse?
Right.
Basically. And I find myself to be totally engulfed into that storyline. I don't find him less scary or anything like that, but I've been watching the franchise since I was 4 years old.
Movies have been around last time.
So, like, as far as I'm concerned, playing, like, not playing, but watching the film and learning who Fred Krueger is when he was human, when he was alive, I personally think makes me a little bit more interested into the character itself. The same thing with Jason. I mean, like, with Jason, you barely get a whole lot of backstory. All you really know about him is that he was kind of a mongoloid when he was a kid. He was mocked and he was thrown into a river to die, or actually into the lake, Crystal Lake specifically.
Well, I don't think he was thrown into the lake. I thought he went out to the lake, couldn't swim, drowned, and the camp guards or whatever that were supposed to keep an eye on the kids were.
Well, like, some of the stories are, some stories are different. Like, you get Betsy Palmer's story from the first movie,
right,
and then you also get Freddy versus Jason, where Freddy, like, Jason ends up having a dream and Freddy's in the dream, and you see all of the all the other campers making fun and poking and prodding at Jason, where he runs onto the dock, and it's questioned as to whether or not he was thrown into the dock, thrown off the dock and into Crystal Lake, or if he slipped in there. But nevertheless, he ended up going into the river, into the lake. He couldn't swim, he drowned, or so they thought. He could have survived, he could have died and then come back because of his body having, being the way that it was. It also created a regeneration type factor. It was like that one is kind of like up in the air. I guess with Jason, it kind of goes into interpretation, personal interpretation as to how you would look at it. Which one do you accept the most? There's a variety of different ones, because there's never been a Jason movie that actually had the same person playing as Jason until Kane Hodder played from 7 to 10, and there's always been a different director, there's always been a different writer. So it always goes into personal interpretation as to what you feel about Jason Voorhees and how he is the character that you see.
But my question is, do you think that learning the backstory of a character who's maniacal, evil, whatever, do you think that makes them less interesting, less terrifying, or are you pretty much impartial to it? Or
I think honestly, you start to understand where that person is coming from. So where that villain is coming from. What's his motive? That's what it's creating. I don't think it makes them less scary. I just think in some cases it might actually make it a little bit more understandable. Why is
it the Joker? You learn a little bit about him growing up, but I feel like they use the same moniker as they would with, Freddy, as they did with Jason. I felt like they did that same thing. Very little bit about how he grown up. Throughout the movie, you kind of get some hints and pieces and what have you. And it's, again, a very politically driven film, but the most successful DC film that's been put out. And as far as what I could tell and what I've read, it's the most successful comic book film.
Well, you've also noticed that every time that they show the Joker, it's always been a different person playing as the Joker, and it's always been a different version of the Joker, because the DC universe created multiple repackagings. It's always been the same characters, but it was always different motives. So you really can't tell. And not to mention, you got to remember too, Joker is a chronic liar. There's no real backstory behind the Joker. I have the DC encyclopedia, and it shows the Joker. There's really no backstory behind the Joker that's actually true.
Right, and they use that in Dark Knight, where he was where he kept telling different versions of why he got the scars.
And that's, but you also have different versions of the Joker throughout the series. You have Cesar Romero playing a different Joker. You have Jack Nicholson playing a different Joker. Joaquin Phoenix playing a different Joker. John Leto playing the most unpopular fucking Joker, because nobody cared about that Joker, but everybody cared about, the fucking 10 things I hate about you, Joker. I can't fucking remember his name for the life. Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger, thank you.
And then there's a Mark Hamill version of a Joker.
Yeah, because of the animated series, Mark Hamill played the voice of the Joker. Which, between Mark Hamill and Heath Ledger, are probably the two best fucking Jokers as far as I'm concerned, because you have both of them. They're both chaotic and anarchistic, and that's, I think, what makes them the most entertaining.
I say for some of that. Not even Joker reveals his full backstory, because he's he's not all there. So
the way that Tim Burton wrote the Joker in his interpretation of Batman.
Yeah, he was more of a gangster.
Yeah, that kind of as a kid, it was kind of cool, because if there's anybody that could play the Joker during that time, it would be the guy who was one flew over the cuckoo's nest.
Jack Nicholson.
Exactly. I just figured that doing movie references would probably be a lot funnier. But nevertheless, Jack Nicholson during that time was probably the best person to fucking play as the Joker, as far as I was concerned.
Fun fact about Jack Nicholson, he actually gave The Rock a nod. He back when The Rock was strictly doing wrestling and not even doing movies yet, he walked by him, I guess, when he was a kid or like, just getting into it. He was younger Dwayne Johnson. And he said, "You got something special to you, kid." Nodded at him and walked on.
Nice.
Jack Nicholson did that.
You're gonna make it big in this business one day, son. Kind of shit. Yeah. Now that's dope. I can't take that away from The Rock. And as a kid, seeing that kind of stuff was very interesting. How he changed from being Jack Napier into the Joker. But then as you get older, you continue to read comics and stuff like that. You learn about the Joker in and of itself, the way that the canon version of the Joker in the comics has always been that there's no real backstory behind him. And I think that's always what makes him interesting, because he's random. Nobody knows anything about him. Nobody knows who he really is. Nobody knows what his motivation is, or even if he has motivation to do what it is that he's doing. That does make the Joker very terrifying. But even still, having known different backstory, like when you have a character where you know that there's a backstory, there's a solid canon backstory, I don't think that it changes up how terrifying he is. But I think it makes him a little bit more understandable as to why it is, what's his motivation for doing what it is that he's doing. Jason Voorhees, as an example, like, people watch him because they think, oh yeah, he's just a murderer and shit. But hey, he didn't kill Feldog in 4, and that was because he was a little kid. Yeah, that's where the video game got it wrong too, because they got him in the video game. They say that Jason's killing little kids. No, he kills the camp counselors who are who are drinking beer, smoking pot, and having premarital sex. Those are his main things until 6, where he, because like at the end of 4 he died, and then 5 there was a doppelganger, like a guy pretending to be Jason, and then he comes back in 6, and that's when he becomes like the mindless regenerative zombie that everybody knows him from 6 until 10. But then but then in Freddy vs. Jason, he kind of does have, it's kind of like a mix between the two versions. Now,
one of the other things I find very interesting about films is I've done it multiple times. I've seen a movie, I'm like, this movie's garbage, and then I start to get like little articles sent to me, or it shows up my feed, or it gets tweeted to me, whatever, and I go and read them, and it makes the movie fascinating when you learn little facts about the movie. Gives you like a new appreciation for it. Mm-hmm. And there's been a couple of cases where I'm like, this movie sucks. Like Jason X, it's a comedy film, and I'm like, but I don't have any appreciation for it. And then I start looking up, like, Friday the 13th facts when I was, doing top 10 lists and what have you for Rock's TV. And I came across one, and the scene where Jason and Jason X has actually got the campers in the sleeping bags and he's beating them against the tree was originally going to be used in the first film.
Mm-hmm. So he actually does kill somebody. He actually does kill somebody by beating them with another person in a sleeping bag at some. No, actually, no. It was just one person. He just grabbed the sleeping bag and whacked it against a tree, and that person was dead. But like,
and Jason next they're laughing. Like he's just like doing it repeatedly, and they're laughing. It was a nod to what they were going to do in the first film.
I didn't hear any laughing like in Jason X.
Yeah, because she wasn't an actual woman.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, I remember that they were laughing. I mean, it was a simulator. They put Jason in a simulator and which, by the way, did you notice this? When the simulator turns on and it's Crystal Lake and stuff, and it shows Jason, he's looking around, it kind of just looks like he just goes like he's home or something. Yeah. So he was like just chill until he saw the two chicks drinking beer and smoking pot.
Right.
And then that's when, that was actually pretty funny because like when he started beating the chicks in the sleeping bags with another chick in a sleeping bag and stuff, that was kind of like a throwback. Yeah. Just to see that shit. I personally, I didn't hear the animated chicks giggling about it. Like, I go back and I hear myself giggling because you see the robot chick, and she goes, "Oh, he's good."
Well, I haven't seen Jason X since I think I was like 12 or 13 the last time I actually sat down and watched that movie. So it could be one of those what what are they called there? The effects or whatever.
CGI.
The what?
The CGI.
No. What the Mandela effect? It could have been one of those where I think I remember them laughing as they're being. I'm gonna have to Google that now. I've been wrong on movies so many times.
I don't like. You're the first person to tell me that, so I think I think you might have been I think you might have like you might have missed like done that. Like,
I was also 12, so you got to give me
exactly.
There we go. If I play this, do we end up getting a copyright strike or no?
I go
I don't know
for
if they had copyrights back then.
Like if it's just a scene, do we get a copyright strike or not?
Probably not.
probably just get claimed.
So is that a cool I can do it or is that a nay?
Go for it.
Go
Bro.
for it.
Hell
I
yeah.
don't know. This is Tails, dude.
Would you want to smoke some pot? Or we can have premarital sex.
I love this thing. We love premarital sex.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were just like, ow, ow.
Yeah.
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 So,
All right.
yeah. Oh yeah, because they weren't real. It was just a simulation, but it was like the closest thing to a realistic simulation that they could possibly get in 2455.
Hell yeah.
And why am I saying that in past tense, even though that's the future? I don't know. Fucking movies. How do they work?
Well, like I was saying, like with Jason X, I was confused by its purpose, why it even existed in the first place.
Because like at this point, like you've had like 7 movies in a row where, well, actually 6 movies, 7 movies in a row where it was like somebody getting killed in a campground, and so like 8, so like by 8 they were like, we need to get Jason to go somewhere else other than Crystal Lake. What if he follows somebody to like say Manhattan? Oh, Jason in New York, that ought to be interesting. And then, oh, Jason now is like a monster and his heart is entering people.
Right.
It was like, and then, oh, well, we've got nothing else. Why don't we just throw Jason Voorhees in space? Oh,
What's up, Darren Fraley? I still have the Mohawk, just didn't feel like putting it up this afternoon. That's all. So shouts out to you, brother. Thank you for being here. One of the guys who watches my Sid Talks, I posted the link on my Facebook, so I just wanted to give a little bit of a nod.
Lazy Hawk style today.
Yeah, I didn't feel like, putting it up. But one of the things I find to be interesting when it comes to updated films, reboots, remakes, and the lack of creativity or whatever, it's almost like something was so perfect they're trying to like capture lightning in a bottle,
They're trying to do it twice with these reboots, though.
Yeah, and it sucks. But then the question then becomes, like with this Joker film, yeah, we've seen Joker multiple times, but there was some sort of magic to that. Now there's people that debate on the reboot of Nightmare on Elm Street, where it went too far back and people thought that it was less scary because you got to go back and you got to see him. But that was a very terrifying Freddy Krueger that we had seen. With Robert Englund, scary in like the first 2 movies, and then he becomes like this joke-like thing, like it almost becomes like a comedy. When you watch as an adult, he's not as terrifying. You see that Freddy Krueger though, and he's fucking scary.
See, like I hated the reboot mainly because of the way that they were showing the backstory of Freddy Krueger. Like they made him sound like he was innocent. It's like they killed an innocent man, and this is the reason why he kills their children. It was like, no, he was killing their children prior to dying. And
but that becomes clear later on in the movie when they're like, oh my God, no, he actually did it. So I felt like that was more of like a plot point versus backstory, that they used the backstory that we know, but they changed it to where, oh, he was innocent, because what they wanted to do is they wanted to do that in the first film, the original one. They wanted to do it, but because they were flat out saying it, the producers were saying, we're not going to back this film if you do that. So in this one, they kind of made that part of the plot. And again, it goes back to things that were taken out of the original film. It's like they're going back into the vault, because now with the internet, people can go and do digging up research. They can go interview directors, actors, and figure out, okay, what was the story behind this film? And then suddenly they've got all this unused content, and then they bleed it out, stretch it out, and then they turn it into a 90-minute film. So for me, I'm kind of stuck. Because for me, I think that's brilliant, and it stays true to some of the material, the source material that's out there. and you're doing some research and you're digging into the vault for it, and people aren't necessarily getting that message. But by knowing that, it's kind of like wow, I got a little appreciation for that film. Now, whether it's good or not is completely, up to your opinion. It's not fact. But it certainly makes you go, it makes you kind of scratch your head a little bit and wonder, well, if we did that with more movies, like that Crow reboot we were supposed to get for the past 15 years, we never saw it.
Which, thank God, by the way, because I personally think that the first Crow movie was epic.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah,
it was like the idea of a perfect film, and I loved how they made Detroit look like Gotham almost.
Right? Yeah. Like just in and of itself, like even the movie itself, the creation of the movie itself has a morbid story behind it, and I think that's another thing that when the movie first came out, there really wasn't much knowledge about that.
Right.
About what had happened to Brandon Lee. But when people started finding out about what happened to Brandon Lee, I think that's what made The Crow even more powerful.
Oh, yeah.
But then they tried to redo it by putting Edward Furlong as a different Crow.
Edward Scissorhands?
And everybody was just like,
That's
no.
remind me of.
No. And it's even worse that they're going to make a video game adaptation of this and put it on the Sega Saturn. No. No.
Yeah.
Well, the one that I thought was interesting was when the guy was executed for murdering his girlfriend when he didn't do it. I thought that was a real interesting take because rather than it be face paint, he had scars going down like this.
Okay, so scars that were similar to the Crow face paint.
Right, but it's still like in the Crow franchise, and it was the third one. And I actually thought that was top notch, pretty damn good. Everyone else gave it shit.
Which one was that? City of Angels?
What?
Was it City of Angels?
That's the second one, I do believe.
Okay.
What was the third one? Let me. I'm gonna have to Google that.
The Crow cash grab.
He's a Crow cash grab.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, that's basically what it is when it concerns all of these remakes and reboots. It's just nothing but a huge, like multi-million-dollar cash grab.
It was Crow Salvation.
Like the realism is that when it comes out with these reboots and sequels, and most of the time, like usually it's just a fucking cash grab. And they basically take a look at okay, so that's basically the problem that I'm foreseeing when it concerns these reboots. That's one of the reasons why if I see a movie that's coming out that's an absolute, if it's a reboot of a perfectly good movie, I'm just like, no, I have zero interest in watching this whatsoever because I've been burned time and time again watching reboot movies, remade versions of movies with totally different characters. It's like, dude, you can't it's like I said before, it's like I don't understand why Hollywood can't take the ideas and add on to a different movie that didn't work out so well into their franchise and beef that up. Then you have something that nobody, that very little people have actually watched. And then that actually could breathe new life into it. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. It's like, why take something like the horror movie franchises that I've mentioned before, Ghostbusters, Power Rangers, so on and so forth, movies that have already come out and franchises that have already been successful. The only reason why you want to try to reboot this stuff is to bring money into it, even to try to hopefully catch the nostalgia of the people of yesteryear and try to bring, bring in their kids to come and watch it as well, which
I'm just feeling bad.
I couldn't. It's like it's just no. Leave the classics alone. As far as
there's an interesting little fork in the road that we're at, right? You can take an idea that was and reboot it. Do we need a reboot of Spawn?
Because the movie sort of sucked, but the cartoon was great.
Yeah, so if you rebooted that movie, it might not be such a bad idea. If you take some of the source material from like The Punisher, definitely needed a reboot. The Dolph Lundgren one was a little outdated, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So we're like a fork in the road where it's like if you do a reboot for the sake of storyline or updating something versus, we're out of ideas. But you also got to remember that reboots also come and sequels also come out of paperwork. It comes out of lawsuits. The people or directors like Rob Zombie are forced to make a second movie when they don't want to. There's a lot of issues that happen in that realm as well. For instance, one of the reasons why we got the remake of Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees was because we were gearing up for another Freddy versus Jason film, but the two, New Line and Universal, couldn't seem to quite get along to make it feel the deal, so they did two separate films instead.
Actually, Freddy versus Jason finally appeared because Paramount was the originator, or was original owner of the Friday the 13th franchise, and New Line ended up buying out the rights to the Jason Voorhees character. Not the Friday franchise. That still was owned by, the Friday the 13th name is still actually owned by Paramount and Sean Cunningham. But the character of Jason has actually been licensed now to New Line Cinema, which is why we were finally able to get that, that movie, because you have both Freddy and Jason owned by New Line Cinema.
But why didn't the second one come out? Because they were talking about doing Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
Like, that was the rumor that was coming out, but I think Bruce Campbell
ended up becoming a comic book instead.
Yeah, I read it. It was like the storyline behind that was actually dope. But like, I think in the storyline, it ended in a way that I don't think would have worked to continue the movie franchises. But nevertheless, I think that it was turned down because, for one, I think the Ash character actually was owned by a different company, and that company did not want to sell it because of the popularity of the Evil Dead Army of Darkness series that they owned. Not to mention, it's either that or it was just like Sam Raimi might own the character in the storyline franchise and all of that, and he was just like, no. Probably read the script and was just like, no. And the other option could have been that Bruce Campbell didn't want to play as Ash.
Yeah.
Well, Bruce Campbell, for that, though, he did Ash versus Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, yeah, probably because take a look at Bubba Hotep.
Yeah.
Watch Bubba Hotep and you'll see why he decided to come back as Ash at that point.
Yeah, and what I find to be interesting is that, we talking about how, well, why don't they come up with new ideas? But then, meanwhile, there's, again, unused material, unused source material, unused storylines, scripts that are locked in vaults that could use a little bit of, a bit of a polish. We talked about Spawn needing a reboot, and I'm not sure it needs one, but I'm sure if we got one, nobody would complain.
Yeah,
because more often than not.
Yeah, because I know, like, when the first Spawn came out, CG was very good. Now it's like great. So
yeah, see, like, Spawn would be a different thing because Spawn was a flop. Like, Spawn was a flop, and that's why it deserves a reboot. Dolph Lundgren's Punisher was a flop, so it needed a reboot. So they rebooted it with another shitty reboot.
Right.
And then they finally got it right with fucking Kevin Feige being the guy behind the producing. Because they put it on Netflix, and that series, like the introduction of him and Daredevil and the storyline for both seasons of The Punisher was actually pretty fucking dope. And rumor has it that they're actually planning on having a Punisher cinematic movie, ingrained into the MCU with the same guy playing as that dude. Perfect for the Punisher.
John Delco and stuff. Yeah, he's perfect as him.
So one of my other qualms that I've got, and the reason why I haven't been doing a whole lot with Marvel, seeing their films or whatever, I feel like Disney's working on a monopoly right now. Not only have they come up with a digital platform of their own for streaming for $5.99 or whatever the fuck it is.
Well, I mean, all of the Marvel stuff is on Disney Plus.
Right, but now they've got Hulu, which is licensed to them, and they've got ESPN, which is licensed to them, putting Netflix in grave danger, putting other platforms in grave danger. Now, what we really have to work with in order for Disney to not be able to have a complete monopoly without having a complete monopoly would be things like Vudu, Tubi TV, YouTube TV, YouTube Red.
Pluto TV.
Things where you don't have to necessarily pay. It's free to stream. You just get a few advertisements and some gems that are on Tubi and Vudu that I've noticed that are for free. Have you seen I Spit on Your Grave 3?
No, I haven't.
It's a sequel to the first one. Instead, because in the second one it was a different girl, but in the third one it goes back to that original character from the first movie, and it's cheesy. It does have that like real political drive to it, but it was still an okay film. Like I sat through it. I was like, okay, I get the message. I get the message. I get the message. All men are bad. All men are rapists. I get it. Awesome, right? kind of like, you know, just to go with the modern times. But there's movies like Frozen with the chairlift, not the Frozen Disney movie, but the Frozen with the chairlift, and with Voodoo and even Fandango, you can rent and buy movies, you know, on your television. I utilize video store. Nothing beats going to a video store, and I have one down the street. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure you've driven by it, sir.
Probably. I mean, you know, it's the same thing with me. I don't like to download my video games. I like to buy them.
Right. I mean, you're getting it for the same price, right? Same.
Not really. I mean, like if I were to go on the Nintendo Switch and buy buy Earthbound, it'd be $9.99. Meanwhile, the physical copy is going to be $159.99.
Well, I mean, for like buying online, like with digital, like with like Xbox and PS2 and what have you. PS4, PS5.
I mean, not really. I mean, there's something to be said about holding the physical copy rather than the digital copy of games, no matter what platform it's on. Like the digital platform is going to always be the same price, no matter what, for the end of time. Having the physical copy, on the other hand, you know, that varies, and I think that's part of the hunt that everybody's, you know, kind of been getting into. But I honestly have to say this though, like we have totally digressed from one of your original questions, which basically was kind of like talking about the originate, you know, like the Screen Actors Guild and things like that, and all of this stuff kind of putting people out of business. I think that if there was like fresh original ideas, then there would be more, you know, there would be more people that would be apt to come into acting and stuff like that, rather than just trying to like reboot or copy something that's already popular. As an example, my ex-girlfriend ended up having a cameo in a movie that was shot here in Grand Rapids, and basically it was like, you know, kind of like a parody of like any of the insert National Lampoon's fucking college movie here, you know,
Okay.
like, you know, but the only people that were actually popular was like one of the main characters, you know, like for the movie, and then there was also cameo appearances by Free Beer and Hot Wings from the Free Beer and Hot Wings show, and that's it. Those are the only people in that movie that were actually fucking popular. Back in the 80s, name a popular person other than Kane Hodder and Terry Reiser that was in any final, you know, Friday the 13th movie. Nobody famous was in those movies except, like, actually, I would say, if anything, Kevin Bacon was in the first one. He got an arrow through his fucking neck.
Johnny Depp was also in Friday or in Nightmare.
Yeah, he got his start doing that.
Yeah.
But he was a nobody. Heather Langenkamp, nobody. Like the only thing that you knew was Freddy Krueger, played by Robert Englund, who was in Q, and that was it. Or V, my bad. No, he was in the TV show V, and so, like, you know, you have one star, and everybody else is a practical nobody, and
Right.
they end up becoming and where did Johnny Depp go from being what was it, Nathan Lane or whatever the fuck his name was in the movie? He went from being a victim of Freddy Krueger to a drunk, a rum happy fucking a metrosexual pirate.
Right.
In Pirates of the Caribbean. You know, like he became a very popular guy. Like he ended up doing a ton of different good movies. He became Edward Scissorhands, you know?
There's a twist to this though. And I find this to be the case where what's that guy's name? Plays Aquaman.
Jason Momoa.
That's the guy. Because I always call him Mimosa. So I get yelled at by mostly women or gay men are the ones that usually yell at me for mispronouncing his name. So that guy, he's actually been in a lot of straight to Netflix shows. I don't know if you're familiar with any of them, but I've seen his name pop up multiple times. And I feel like in what's his name, who played Captain America and Snowpiercer, he showed up in that movie. And I'm not sure if that was if they were trying to use the actors as a selling point, but you could have had anybody portray those characters and it would have been fine. They're trying to use actors as a selling point, and I feel like that we're starting to go back into the day and age where people aren't buying plots anymore. They're buying who was in this big Avengers film, who was in this, who's in this universe, and I really feel like that again with Disney, having this and then having this, monopoly over film, over streaming, and so on. I fucking hate Disney. If you haven't gathered that yet, I fucking loathe the bastards. I hope Mickey Mouse gets hung one day, and Minnie Mouse can be swinging from a belt next to him. But I find that we're starting to find like there's a niche audience for creepy, eerie films like the landmine goes click. Oh my god. There's actors that are like in movies like or in TV shows like The Following, if you've ever seen that. With Kevin Bacon, great series. It's for free on IMDb TV. I've watched those episodes. I've seen that season I think like 2 or 3 times. Fucking great. It's amazing telling. And yeah, they used Kevin Bacon to really sell it, to really drive that home. But towards the end of it, you kind of like lose sight that he's Kevin Bacon. He actually like really becomes his character, becomes so believable. But the people who like things like that now one of the kid characters who's a killer in that show, he actually ends up being in this movie, The Landmine Goes Click, and he plays a similar character, just not as dark and as warped. So we're starting to see that in the modern age as well. But my issue becomes that there's people that are so infused with CGI. Does it look good? We're getting people that are being bored by movies with storylines to it, which is what I'm afraid of with video games. I'm afraid that storylines aren't what's selling. It's how big does that dragon look? How amazing does it look? Oh, the wing had a little bit of a deficiency right there. It's got a little glitch right there. This game fucking sucks. What was that whole thing that happened with WrestleMania or W2K 2020, whatever game that was? Where
WWE 2K20.
Fucking shitstorm of glitches, right?
Well, yeah, because of the way that like when you're playing a wrestling game, like you have to have like some sort of a continuity between realism and cartoony shit.
Right.
So like, but like the realism part of it is that my body cannot go through yours because that's the realism. My body cannot go through yours physically. There's no such thing as human on human osmosis.
Right, right. No, I understand.
So they want something like that with it. They don't want that in the video game. And there was this huge glitch where it had something to do with Charlotte Flair doing the figure 8 or some move where it ends up like one of their bodies ends up coinciding with the other one, so there was no blocking on the framework. Like the framework ended up being just open.
Oh, I've seen some of the pictures, man. Like there was this one woman, all she had was eyeballs and a mouth. It looked fucking terrifying.
Yeah, because like the camera went inside their head.
Yeah.
And so like all you saw was the eyes and the mouth.
And I get that. Like, and I get issues like that because that affects your gameplay. I do understand that.
I had that happen to me when I was playing Don't Even Think.
Right. But then there's games that are very storyline driven where you get that occasional glitch, like you're playing a Call of Duty game, and like one of the soldiers flickers in and out. Right, you make that the first thing that you kill. It's flickering in and out. Eventually, I'm not going to be able to see it. It's a threat to me. I'm going to gun it. So there's little glitches like that, tiny little things. But I feel like that when it comes to film, a small glitch like that and what have you kind of ruins it. Like, have you seen the movie Shark Lake with Dolph Lundgren? If you haven't, it's perfectly okay. But it's a great story. It's a great story. And then the sharks. So you end up in tune with the storyline, but every time you'd see the sharks, you'd be like, I'd rather fucking not see them. Because they look like the sharks from Jaws when they were in the amusement park or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Paper.
With Jaws, it was all right because we all knew the shark was fake. Like,
right. But
Jaws 19.
I appreciate about Jurassic Park and Jaws that they actually utilized animatronics.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't beat the graphics from Jurassic Park. Can't do it. Even in modern times, man, like Jurassic World was a huge disappointment for me. I felt like I was watching a very expensive sci-fi movie, and I mean sci-fi SYFY.
I know what you mean.
So
I've seen horrible sci-fi movies myself.
But back to your point on Final Fantasy VII, right? Was that the one? It was Final Fantasy VII where you felt emotionally attached.
Mhm.
How about that scene in the Lost World 2 film? Have you seen it?
No,
I'm not ruining it for you then.
the Lost
As much
World.
as it's been out for 2 years, technically I'd be allowed to do that. I'm not going to be a dick and do that to you, but I'm saying there's a very emotional point that comes to play. And if you look up all the film theories, if you look up what the directors have said about this movie, it tugs at your heartstrings, man. It does. Like it hurts in a lot of places you didn't even think existed being a man. With those testosterone and no emotions, and we just choke down our feelings, have it stacked down as best as possible. It'll hit you. And I feel like that was more plot than it was special effects, because even though I can't tell, the fact that it was told to me in that sense, and I go back and look into, like, because I think that what makes a movie better is film theories. I feel like film theories also, and that's what pisses me off. There's a bunch of different channels, like New Rock Stars. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them. They used to do like Walking Dead breakdowns, and then they were told they couldn't do that anymore. I'm like, you're fucking up badly. You should be endorsing them, sponsoring them as being a part of your show, because what they're doing is they're telling you things that you missed, so you're going back and rewatching it.
Yeah, I agree to that. Like,
so I feel like
how dare they say that you're not allowed to criticize your work?
Right, and not only that, but they're showing like what I loved about it is like things that you missed on The Walking Dead. It's not like ups and downs of The Walking Dead. It's like, here's everything that you missed. Check this out. This is a callback to season 2. And I'm like, it's like, and I loved it. Like, just that was one of my favorite things. I mean, that's what inspired a lot of my writing, was actually watching New Rock Stars doing that. What inspired a lot of my writing was watching film theory. And I'm like, oh, genius. That is fucking brilliant. I got to add some of that into my novels, because I feel like, it's just an aspect that I truly fucking love. So in a connected universe, I kind of see how that works, because that invites a lot of callbacks and a lot of references and things you didn't realize from the first Iron Man movie, and it forces you to go back and watch it. So I feel like rather than treating us as the competition, Marvel, Disney, DC, Walking Dead, AMC, whoever the fuck, all these conglomerates, these monsters of fucking networks, what they should be doing instead is endorsing YouTubers, endorsing kids that are just behind a camera that are actually doing legitimate breakdowns. I mean, sure, quality control and check the quality of the videos, make sure it's worth endorsing. That is completely and utterly up to you whether you do so or not. But if they're doing a spot on fucking job like film theory, you fucking endorse them. Why are we having Men's Shaving Club or Beard Oil or all this other dumb shit sponsoring us when we've actually got Disney, multi-billion company? They could hand you $300,000 and in 30 minutes they'll make that money back.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. It makes sense.
Have you ever watched it?
No, I have not watched it, but I understand where you're coming from. Like, as a content creator, I totally understand.
So Film Theory did this one. It's about Spider-Man and Disney's like they're going to court again
over the rights, so that way they can make Spider-Man 3.
Right. So here's what's fucked up, and I'm gonna let the video explain it. Please go and check it out. It's a 2-parter, so it's pretty intense. But I haven't seen the second part yet. I'm waiting. But apparently, here's how it works. If you go to a theater and you purchase a ticket for Amazing Spider-Man, the Sony product, Disney is getting none of that, right? It's all going to Marvel. Or I'm sorry, not Marvel. It's going to Sony. But if you buy a t-shirt, right? If you buy a t-shirt that's got Spider-Man on it, that much Disney. Even if it is the Amazing Spider-Man from Sony, even if it is that, they somehow made it so that way. Any money. So if you go and buy an action figure from the Amazing Spider-Man or the Sony generation, that's money going to Disney. It's fucked. So because Disney wants to go back, they want a bigger cut. They want more money and more use for Spider-Man without having to pay. Because what Disney was doing is they would offer, like, if they made a complete thing with Spider-Man in Civil War, what they ended up doing is they ended up paying Sony just a little bit for that. It's fucked up, man. It really is. It becomes like a battle over characters.
Well, yeah, Sony owns the cinematic rights to to Spider-Man, to this character Spider-Man, to Peter Parker, the whole storyline behind all of that. that's why Sony ends up getting a piece whenever now Tom Holland plays a Spider-Man in a Spider-Man movie or Spider-Man in any other Marvel movie.
Right.
But but like when it concerns action figures and stuff like that, Marvel took care of the action figures. I think like the action figure rights to a different toy company prior to the events of Sony becoming a franchise on having Spider-Man on there as a franchise. That's why the money ends up going to Marvel and Disney gets a piece because Disney also owns part of Marvel. It's all different breakdowns and stuff like that when it concerns money. But we're totally digressing from the whole thing, like when it concerns like originality in writing and stuff. And I think that there needs to be more originality when it concerns that type of stuff. I do have to get going though. I spent quite a bit of time on here. I was mainly on here though because my son was taking a nap, and I got invited by Warlock Side. What up?
Hell yeah.
Is he awake yet?
He's watching Blippi.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, he's watching Blippi.
Oh, okay.
So much to learn about and make you want to shout.
I have a screwdriver. Get away from me.
No, do not. Do not.
We're gonna watch Crazy McCormick murder and child live on Tales of the Lotus podcast. Go tell your friends.
Right, that ought to bring in some monetization.
Demonetization and quite possibly a lawsuit. But of course, Warlock Side would end up with the fucking lawsuit as if he had anything to do with it.
Hey, the way I look at it, it's original writing.
Touche. I like how you brought that back to the original.
And now we have a member of the Screen Actors Guild because he just faked.
Is that the Diapergate kid?
No, the Diapergate kid is 3 years old and he's upstairs taking a nap.
Oh damn!
No, he's not.
He's watching Blippi on YouTube or something.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Blippi's like a kid show.
It's a toddler show for no pizza.
Get away from me! All right, we're through. All right, but yeah, I do have to get going. Yeah. Sid, I love you and I love this conversation that we were having. We need to continue this at some point in time.
Oh, I agree. I think we should add this to our schedule.
Yeah, that would
be really insightful, and I really feel like that it forces me to break away from things that I'm comfortable with, gets me out of my comfort zone because I don't know a goddamn thing about video games. I'm still stuck in PS2 world. So it's interesting to have these conversations, and that's why I ask questions rather than saying I am an expert on what's coming out for PlayStation 5. I'm like, I have no fucking clue. I have high expectations, but will they be met?
I'm not an expert per se on this type of stuff, but
I think you're more qualified to speak on it than I am, though.
Probably. I mean, nerd gang, fam.
I'm just like
I got to make T-shirts of that. So, all right, I'm out of here.
Much love to you. Thank you.
Peace out, crazy, little crazy.
Whoop, whoop.
Nice meeting you, Warlock Side. Nice meeting you, Sid. Nice meeting you, Hefty Fine.
His name is Josh.
Hell yeah.
Peace out.
Peace, y'all.
Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Good, Sid. Good, man.
So now that we've got the video game and the entertainment stuff out the way, now I'm curious about some of the stuff going on in the Juggalo world. Go tell your friends. I got questions.
Oh, shit. What's your questions?
Okay, so first off, this amazing 5 that I've been hearing about, I'm told it's going to be like the arrival of the final 5. What happens to the Insane Clown Posse after the 3rd deck? I'm curious.
Oh, man. Good question, dude. Good question.
Because already we're starting to see record labels, and like I said, just because I haven't been commenting on it or doing any of that shit, I've been fucking with the Juggalos and pissing them off because why the fuck wouldn't I? Free entertainment for us all. But one of the things that I've noticed, paid attention to, is that Twisted no longer really has Gmo Ski on the label. Last American Rockstars is a project that it's done. Right? They came out with American Rockstar was like their last song that they had put out. They were going to do an album. Even Gordy said that they were going on an interview that I had with him that they were going to do a Lars album this year or last year. It was one of the years we were supposed to have a Lars album.
Didn't they re-sign?
And I have a feeling that record labels starting to change. Look at what happened with Light, Ouija Mac, Big Hoodoo. We're starting to see that artists that which by the way, I'm going to bring this up because nobody else has. So please go tell your friends. I have questions. I would like to hear what they have to say. Cemetery Lady, I miss her very much. Go get her. Get Mary Jane, bring her here. I want Child's Play Ninja's ass in this chat as well because I'm about to piss off everybody.
Oh, shit.
Gentlemen, I want you to think back. Close those eyes of yours. I want you to think all the way back to 6 foot, 7 foot. That music video. Do you know what video I am talking about?
Yep.
Okay. Do you remember what that song was about?
Yep.
Okay. Who was in that music video?
Light. Shaggy.
What's Light doing these days?
His own thing.
Right. Performing with Blaze, your dead homie, who was depicted in 6 foot, 7 foot music video.
Yep.
Right. Where's the outrage?
I have no outrage, man.
Exactly. That's a very valid point. Warlock said you have no outrage over this, correct? Right. Josh, how about you? Do you have any outrage over Light performing with Blazy Dead Homie in spite of the 6 foot, 7 foot music video? Any qualm? Any issue? No?
Mic's off, Josh.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no issue at all.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So we have agreed that the three of us have no qualms with this whatsoever, correct?
Right.
Gmo Ski dissed Violent J. Who's got issues with this?
Yep.
I just wish with a distance battle. That's my only issue.
But I'm starting to think that Gmo Ski's diss with Violent J and then him coming back with 6 foot, 7 foot. My question then becomes, but you had Light in that song, and you said anybody who leaves Psychopathic for another label or for Twisted or however he ended up wording it, and then whining about how he didn't get laid with Whitney Payton. My question then becomes, if you've got Light going and doing over that stuff, I'm pretty sure the outrage is over, right? Why are the Juggalos still feeding that drama?
Oh, man.
Maybe because they like the drama. It's just my way.
I'm just saying, I feel like that they were doing this whole anti-MNE thing, and now they're starting to realize, because the area has become quite murky and quite gray, hasn't it? That maybe, just maybe, as I was saying many years ago, that it wasn't record labels. It was, in fact, artists, and it was, in fact, record labels that were doing their own thing, and they should be free to do so. I had come out and I had said this on multiple occasions. Got chewed out, by the way, for it. I'd like to add, and I'd like to point out that when Child's Play Ninja and I had our parlays, and I discussed the Last American Rock Stars and how they shouldn't have been any part of it whatsoever, where King Gordy went out and put out a thing about him and Shaggy Tudo in that tweet where they were fighting charges, and they were in court on the same day. And then King Gordy got on stage with Shaggy Tudo at Lethal Weekend 3.
Yeah, hell, 6 foot, 7 foot wasn't even talk about the whole label, just an ex-psychopathic guys.
Right, that had left and gone to
M&E.
Right. Light is kind of doing his own thing and doing work with M&E. Now, there was this whole thing, and you guys know, and it's probably still around. I haven't been involved with the Juggalette in quite some time, but thank you for selling my books for me. I do appreciate it greatly. Please make sure you check it out at thejugganati.com/thejones. You will appreciate the things that you find on there when you find out that I am backed by the Juggalette. Now, which basically means you can't touch me. Now, one of the things I want to bring up and establish with this whole beef drama thing is that maybe it wasn't as severe as people were saying it was, but I think it's more on like personal levels. And now I've noticed that there's a lot of artists out there, up and coming artists, that didn't quite get to where they wanted to for 2018, 2019, and 2020, as if their New Year's resolutions were struck down and beaten down. And it sucks when your dreams are kind of ripped to shreds. Believe me, I've had that happen on multiple occasions. But you start to find out that you're better off on your own, because if you ended up wanting to do work with psychopathic artists, you want to do work with M&E artists, the problem is you have now negated some of your fan base simply by affiliation and association. But thanks to Light, Ouija Mac, Big Hoodoo, and so on, where they're starting to spread themselves and starting to do more. Shaggy Tudope, he's doing this whole thing with Keegan. Shaggy Tudope having a voice of his own, and I fucking salute that guy. Despite what anybody may think, I salute him for going out and doing his own thing and branching out away from the Insane Clown Posse and doing his own shit. And I feel like that's the kind of lead people should be taking, is doing it on your own without a signing or without a contract or anything like that, just to do you and be free and be you. And I feel like that's a great lead that Shaggy is taking. Now, when it comes to the Juggalos, I've noticed LFP making some comments about Child's Play Ninja. I did read that. I've also noticed that the Juggalos are kind of at odds with LSP now, and I've noticed that 17 Dead, they've kind of stuck their nose into the whole thing as well. So I'm asking you guys this, and I've talked about this on my show, and here's how I see the Juggalo world, and it's very primal. Okay, it's very much a reptilian, mammalian brain thing we've got going here. So as human beings, as a species, we try to climb to the very top. We want to be at the top, right? The best. We want to be at the top of the skyscraper. We want to be on the 75th floor, not on the 74th. We wouldn't settle for less, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So in the Juggalo world, we want to climb to the top. We want to be at the top of this tree, right? And there's Juggalos that would be perfectly content being at the very top of a tree of a dead pine that's doing this. Okay, they're swaying like this, all right? And even though they're like teeter towards the ground, they're like, I'm still on top of a tree. I'm still at the very top, even though my tree is half fucking retarded. Now, when you've got other Juggalos that you know they're part of they're part of a unit, something called the Juggernaut Strength, Unity, and Family, I believe was their trifecta, right? That was the thing that made the corners, correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Did I do that right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Now I figured out. As you can see, I'm the whitest white guy you'll ever meet in your life. Now, not bad for a guy who got the hype for King Gordy, but one of the things that I've noticed is like when it comes to the Juggernaut, it becomes this very, very funny that it's a triangle, a pyramid, if you will, and it's supposed to be like this unit thing, right? Unity, strength, and family. That's their mantra. But there's people that seem to reach to the top of something that was supposed to be without a top. It was supposed to be complete. You know, we do things on our own. We do things, you know, without leadership, right? So it's supposed to be a movement it's supposed to be a leaderless movement. We'll say it like that. It's supposed to be a leaderless movement. But then all of a sudden, it starts to do some funny things, doesn't it? You start to have this group over here, and they've gone and done their thing. Then you get this group over here, and they've gone to do their thing. Then you've got the people at the top, and they're kind of bickering and arguing. So far, they're breaking down. And as you can see, that pyramid is slowly starting to disintegrate. Now you've got just a flat line of people who've broken down their own groups, and they're on their own little pine trees that do this, and they've climbed to the top of them, and they feel like they've accomplished something rather than building something as a unit and reaching to the top. But more importantly, what I've noticed, there's people that are constantly battling each other over the dumbest shit that you could possibly ever fathom. Now, I know that there's issues going on with Twisted and Child's Play Ninja. Frankly, I don't give a shit. Either way, they can duke it out themselves. I don't need to be friends.
That's their business.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So, but the fact that it's brought out there, right? People airing their dirty laundry, which is a constant thing. This happens on multiple occasions, and it causes people to have this little bit of a battle, and it causes people to actually pick sides, right? And I think that's what it is when you bring out the drama, right? If I came out and I said I'm at odds with Warlock's side, right? Now suddenly people who are here, they're going to start picking sides. It breaks down to like Twilight, where it's Team Warlock side and Team Sid Jones. And then they're going to argue of which one is the character from Twilight. And then they're going to go out and make memes of it. People are so fucking predictable and so fucking ridiculous. But I feel like that's kind of what happened with Juggalo. Do I need to bring up Bender Boys?
Yeah, good point.
I mean, people were saying I was an idiot. I didn't know what I was talking about. I was just an MNE guy, had no brain cells, nothing. People said I was the dumbest of dumb, and I let them think that. I let them think that for 3-4 years. I let them think this, that I didn't have a brain in this head. And now I've come out with I'm working on my 6th book currently. The 5th one is going through the views and getting reviewed and looked over and glanced over and checked and made sure that it's all up to par before it's ready for its release. And I find that we could do better as the Juggalo world. I mean, I won't speak as me, in fact, being a Juggalo, because if I said I was a Juggalo, you've got 75 people that say that I'm not. You've got 75 people that say that I am, because you guys have changed the rules on what a Juggalo actually is from what one used to be. Oh yeah, I'm a fan of the Insane Clown Posse. Ergo, Juggalo. Oh no. You have these prerequisites and this entire list of things, and that you must meet. You must meet these requirements in order to. But if you're deemed one by another Juggalo, it's a completely different thing. So you guys have even changed the definition of what a Juggalo is. Have you not?
Yes. Yeah, it does seem like a bunch of people are like clicking up. These
Right.
days.
So it seems like it's almost become like cult-like, right?
Mhm.
But a very disorganized cult. But it depends on which, like Juggalo Yacht Club, right? They're their own thing.
Yeah.
But you've got to do something to be part of the Juggalo Yacht Club. You must go through these prerequisitions. There's nothing like that in the punk world. There's nothing. There's no punk group for this. There's no metal group for this. There's Facebook groups, absolutely. And do you know what you need to do to join these groups? Answer a few questions so that way they can allow you into the group, or to make sure you're not a bot or whatever the shit, and you get added to that group.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Actually, I had to answer a few questions to get a few Facebook groups myself.
Yeah. And that there's nothing wrong with that. It's social media. I'd hardly take that as anything, bad.
I mean, neither.
But when you're trying to join a group, Juggalo Yacht Club, Jugganati, like if I walked around with a Jugganati t-shirt, does that not water down the meaning of Jugganati? Despite the fact that I'm on the website, somebody could see and be like, "You're not Jugganati. You're Sid Jones. You're an asshole. You are anti-Juggalo. You're a Juffalo. You're this and you're that." I bought your fucking t-shirt. Now, does that make me part of the Jugganati? Or does that make me a fan of the Jugganati, and who gets to decide which it is?
Well, you buy a t-shirt, you play a fan of it.
But you see my point.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Right, yeah.
So, like I've done all this on my own. I was with Rox TV. I loved working with Rox TV for as long as I did. And eventually, one of us had to give, and I was like, I don't have to endure this anymore. I put up a promo, and I'm very proud of it. People were saying I was so focused on my writing, so focused on my book, more so than I was Rox TV. So I put up a promo, kind of like how ICP did their Joker cards. I don't know if anybody saw that. I believe I still have it. I should still have that. I hope I still have that. I'll show you guys real quick. I took the idea from them, and honestly, yes, I did do it to piss off the Juggalos. But nobody caught on to it. They were just like, "Oh, that's cool," because my friends are slightly more mature. I just wanted to put that out there. I don't mean any harm. Where is it? Aha, here it is. So I don't know if you guys can see that real well. Oh, that actually comes out pretty fucking clear, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you see these years, right? You see the years?
Yeah.
So that's 2017, Grains of Chaos in 2020, Reapers in 2017. I released 3 books in 2017 and nothing for 2 years. I've looked at the publication dates, 2 years, nothing published. Nothing. So I spent 2019 working on Grains of Chaos, and in 3 months, I managed to write another book since Grains of Chaos. So people like to, and I notice this when it comes into things like Rox TV, it comes into things like Jugganati. There's this battle for the top, and honestly, I wanted to establish an entire empire one day. I wanted to be a part of something greater than myself. And then I was like, wait a minute, who the fuck is going to write books for me? Why would I have somebody else write a book for me when I have written it myself? I can design the cover myself. And when somebody does do something, like my friend Brianna, who designed the cover for Eaten Alive, the second book of the trilogy, I put her as the artist for it. She was given credit for that. And I was like, I'm going to have to, if I'm going to be an author and do my thing, I'm going to do my thing. And there's a bit of a dispute between me and Rox TV about this. Now, when I say that Juggalos are like this, I'm not even saying all Juggalos are like it. But I'm fucking saying, when you've got a fist fight that breaks out on a boat in New York City, you've got a fist fight that breaks out outside of Juggalo Day weekend in Los Angeles. I mean, it's fucking Los Angeles. Everybody breaks into fist fights in fucking Los Angeles. It's the only place in California where you can get shot, right? So, I unless it's a garlic festival, those apparently are very crime-ridden in California. Not bad for an anti-gun state, but you've got Juggalos that are interacting in fist fights. You've got Juggalos that are partaking in picking sides, and it's adding to conflict, right? Like if I went to the Gathering of the Juggalos this year and I was wearing an LSP shirt and that huge brawl breaks out, who do you think would get sucked into that?
You probably.
I was wearing a Lars t-shirt and a Magic Entertainment t-shirt at DCG Con. And because of the shit that happened, which, by the way, I never, ever condoned or endorsed whatsoever. I want that. I don't care who did it. I don't know the exact details of what had happened, minus the fact that somebody had in fact admitted to doing this at DCG Con, and there's still some question about whether or not this person actually did it, which I don't completely understand, which is fine. But I was there for that, but I wasn't there, right? There's witnesses, Crazy McCormick, his girlfriend, and who else was with us? It was one other person with us. Echoside Fiend. He was there, and they all can vouch for the fact that I was dead asleep. But guess what? When I got up that morning, I was walking around with a large T-shirt. Guess who was looking at me kind of sideways? A lot of juggalos throughout that hotel. Matter of fact, there was an individual there that was very concerned for my safety at DCG Con because of that, because they thought that maybe I had something to do with it, and that was kind of a fucked up thing.
I did see a few like Magic Ninja logos at the gathering this past year.
Oh, I mean at the gathering, yes. I'm talking DCG Con. I saw some shit at the gathering.
Yeah.
I saw people walking around in Zool masks, and all I could think when I saw these people in Zool masks at the gathering was like, "Holy shit, fucking hot out here for wearing a rubber."
Yeah. Like I know when like Esteban was doing a whole part of being rimmed up mask, he had to be fine in it.
Yeah. But I want to ask you something. When you were at the gathering, there was those fights that broke out. Now I ask you guys this, because I left the gathering of the Juggalos after seeing the fist fights and breaking up the fight that I had seen myself. And it wasn't even a fist fight. It was an onslaught. The dude was beaten, had no chance of defending himself, which is why I stepped in. I avoid conflict at all costs. I'm a little small. I'm a little short. I'm a little tiny for a guy to be able to spar up with a guy that could look like he could pick me up and eat me like a Whopper. But I pass it off as it being festival violence, because I've only ever been to one festival, and it was a Dropkick Murphys Irish Festival, and I was only there for one night. So I hardly to say that I had any experience. I went to the Dropkick Murphys set, I watched the boxing match, and then went up on stage with the Dropkick Murphys, sang with them, went back to my tent, went to sleep. No qualms, no issues, no nothing, right? I've never done anything like that in my life. And I get to the gathering, and it's a whole different world. So I wasn't sure if that was Juggalo violence on Juggalos, or if it was simply festival violence.
I'm not sure. That was my first gathering, so my first festival like that. So
It would be hard for you to make that.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, so I really can't speak on that. So.
Well, Oxide, how many gatherings you been to?
Oh man, I've been to two.
Two? Did violence break out at both these?
Kind of three, but I didn't really go to the first one. I just watched the fucking Bedlam set. But the second one, violence broke out, but it wasn't among the Juggalos. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
there was with Misery and Blaze and shit going on in Toledo.
Yeah. What's that one like the Vinos got into a fight?
The who?
Like some food Vinos got in a fight or something.
Oh man, I don't remember.
Yeah, I think one of the guys got there was a fight between like the food vendors or something like that. But
I know we got tear gassed on the way out of Toledo, and then we got tear gassed in fucking Peoria, Illinois the next year.
You guys got fucking tear gas?
Oh fuck yeah, bro! Cause some chick
Holy
was
shit,
titties or some shit, and they fucking trying to bust her for it, and then we got out of hand.
Jesus,
crazy shit. One dude in Toledo though, he punched a cop's horse. That shit was crazy.
He punched a cop's horse. Wow, that's fucked up. If I find a cop, I'm not taking it out on an animal that's simply having somebody else do its job and is using it to do its job.
Yeah,
you know. Yeah, that's kind of fucked. It's like shooting a canine dog. You know, you leave the dogs alone, but I feel like cops should be, fair play.
Hell yeah.
But I think that's because I have more human connection, more emotion towards dogs, cats, animals than I do human beings. I feel like that we're kind of we've overstayed our welcome. So
hell yeah.
It's not even just like with Juggalos. Juggalos are just the easier ones to shit on. I feel like they've become like the modern day social justice warriors, where they're so easy to piss off and offend. It's fucking great, and I haven't seen it like this since the Juggalo Holocaust days. I haven't seen it like this since who was that meme guy? What the fuck was his name? Rip Van Winkle. I don't know if you guys remember him.
Oh yeah.
That guy was making memes like Juggalos caused the sinking of this ship. The Hindenburg went down because of the Juggalos, and Juggalos were getting pissed off about him. That's actually kind of funny because Juggalos didn't exist during the time of the Hindenburg, and I'd be amazed if some of the Juggalos knew what the Hindenburg was.
Yeah. Yeah, I do appreciate a good meme.
Yeah, all right. Like. See, the Scottish misfit here, fucking Warlockside. You guys can take jokes.
Yeah,
You know, we take jabs at each other.
yeah,
But it gets to the point of where people who don't want violence, don't want any part of it, they're kind of stuck in it, you know. And now it's become again, as I have stated many a times here on Tales of Lotus podcast. I said it with the CPN. I've said it on posts. I've said it on Rocks TV, and I'm going to say it again. There is more violence within hip hop because of a mentality than there are in other genres. And you're starting to see why that is, because there's ego, right? You've got one person, right? So case in point, who remembers the song Girls off of the D12 album? Anybody?
No.
Okay, so it was an Eminem dissing. It was Eminem. No member of D12 was on it. It was simply just Eminem who was dissing Fred Durst and DJ Lethal. Okay?
Yep.
Now he was dissing them because they were supposed to be on a track together, dissing somebody. Turns out that they decided not to be on the track. They said that somebody could whip Eminem's ass, and Eminem was like, "Dude, you're about to be on that song, dude. Like you were going to be on it. Now all of a sudden you're riding this dude's nuts." So it caused people at 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, even in high school, where they were like picking, like if you were wearing a Limp Bizkit shirt, you were getting shit on. If you were wearing an Eminem shirt and you ran into Limp Bizkit fans, you're getting shit on. That's why you're not seeing a whole lot in punk. And when there is issues, it's so like you don't know enough of the details, and you're just like, it's fucking music to me at this point. But there's people that pick sides, and that's where the violence comes in.
Yeah. Sometimes people just take things way too seriously.
Right, like they're willing to die for somebody that doesn't even know their fucking name.
Exactly.
And that's what I think is a fucking tragedy in this country. You've got people that are like, I would die for Trump. I'd die for the White House. I'd die for my government. And I'm like, what about your neighbor? What about your fellow American? Oh, fuck them. They're a bunch of libtards and they're a bunch of SJWs. I'm like, oh, so you're not a patriot. You're a bootlicker. Got it. And that's the kind of mentality that I'm finding in these people that pick groups. Now, I really fucking hope that somebody in this chat takes this clip, takes this bit on Tales of Lotus podcast and puts it out there, because I want to have this conversation again with you guys. I want to be able to break this down for everybody when I say this is why hip hop is more violent. And this is why I say so. Because when people look at punk, they look at what happens at concerts. They've never been to these concerts. There's people that say, oh, I've been to rock shows. Shaggy Tudo saying, I saw violence at a Journey show. But Shags, we're not talking about Journey. We were talking punk versus hip hop, Shags. And you said, and he kept bringing up Gigi Allen. I'm like, Gigi Allen is dead.
Yeah, and he was
if that's your bit of violence from punk rock, you haven't seen violence in punk rock since '93.
Well, and Gigi Allen was so controversial and so weird anyway. So
yeah, I mean, controversial, caused a lot of shit at a show. Dead, 1993. So when I say that hip hop is more violent, not was, is, and you bring up Gigi Allen, I'm like, that's it. That's what you got. Is Gigi Allen, who's been dead since '93. Okay. So you're not proving as to why hip hop is less violent than punk. I mean, you've talked about Journey. Journey's not punk rock, not even close. And you brought up Gigi Allen, who's been dead in '93. And I didn't get a chance to actually have a rebuttal and say these things. So I get to say right now on Tales of Lotus podcast. And not the
No, I don't think any music genre is fucking violent. I think people are just violent. Some fucking people get attitudes.
I said that too, but
when you put a bunch of people together, man, you're gonna have
based off of the LSP, the Juggalo thing. I think it's people that pick sides that are violent.
Man, like you're gonna have people that have different opinions, no matter how many. Like if you have a big group of people, there's not all gonna think the same way, no matter if we're all Juggalos or not. You know what I mean? Like
right, but
we all
it's
got our
mob
own
mentality, right?
No, not really.
You don't think it's mob mentality?
People fight all the time in the street, like not even fucking Juggalos, just regular people. They fight because they got differences. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna happen. People are still people. We don't have special blood in us that makes us all Juggalos.
That goes all the way back. But I'm talking what causes us to react that way, because if we all just went out and started decapitating people, stabbing people, we'd all be serial killers, right? We'd all be murderers.
Yeah, it's like, so I think it's sort of like tribalism too.
So my question then becomes, if we're going to be at this gathering, there's already talks of a war breaking out as soon as we get there. Like, I mean, why would that start up? Well, that happened at Juggalo Day weekend, right? Or after the fact. I'm sorry, it wasn't at the event. It was on the sidewalk outside the venue. I'm like, that's fine, I guess. I mean, tit for tat. I mean,
A lot of it's for recognition. People want
it
recognition
was still
nowadays.
about what had gone down at this event, and Scum had put out a statement, and I've seen CPN's statement on it, and I'm starting to see that, you know, it's people that are starting to rally up again. They're starting to pick sides. I've already seen Team LSP. I've already seen cult shit put in their thing where they're like, I'm cult shit and I do my thing. And, you know, they're actually kind of like, they're feeding off of it by the neutrality, right? Like they're being neutral about it, right? So you've got LSP over here, some of the juggalos over here, select group of juggalos, not every single juggalo, but a group of juggalos that are ready to beat some ass, which already have violent tendencies, which have already shown acts of violence and rage, right? Am I wrong? Am I right?
I see you're right.
Okay. So since this is the group of people who have a history of violence, who have a history of doing violent things, attempting violence, doing evil things to people, whether what the cause is or what have you, they have that history of doing, and they are already stated they will be there again. Now you've got LSP riling up, and then you've got people like Cult, like the cult shit movement, you know, Damian Quinn and so on, and Wicked Wisconsin, the home of it. And you've got people that are just like, yo, I just want to be, man. Like they're like the hippies of this war, right? They just want to be neutral. They want to smoke their weed. They want to have fun. They want to go to their shows. They want to do all this. But then on this other side, it's like, all right, so we're going to basically attack each other. Now the question then becomes, is this going to be lucrative? Are people going to make money off of this? What does this mean for the people that are bystanders? Bystanders? What does this mean for the people that attend the gathering and get caught in the crossfire? I don't mean crossfire with guns. Let's be real. No one's bringing guns to fucking nobody gives a shit about Ohio, and Ohio will pull you over for doing 5 over because Ohio's a shit state. Much love to my friends in Ohio. I'm sorry you live there. But I think that my point stands where the further that we go down this road of Team LSP, of Team Juggalo, the more that we amp this up and the more that we discuss it, I feel like that just rallies people up even more. If you were to just let it die and never bring it up, I feel like it would just kind of evaporate on its own and people would forget, because we have the attention span that is shorter than that of a goldfish. We need constant reminders, right? Yeah. Case in point, that's why I brought up the 6 foot, 7 foot video, because I remember all that shit that people were talking then. And that's why I brought up the fact that there is no outrage over this. And I'm starting to wonder if maybe people are starting to think for themselves, if people are stopping picking sides. And then I'm reminded, oh yeah, there was that LSP thing that happened. So people just found another conflict. Now, somebody pointed out in my show that we are naturally born to conflict. We love it. We love drama. Why do we think we have the good guy versus the bad guy chasing the good guy chasing the bad guy kills good guy's girlfriend, good guy goes back out, kills bad guy. I've summed up 90% of every single 80s, 90s action.
Yeah, pretty much.
But that's because it caters to that part of our brain that exists, that primal. Like I brought this up in my show last night before I was rudely interrupted by my dog. But I brought this up last night where in Whitechapel during the Jack the Ripper murders, you actually had people that were crying for help, prostitutes, and Whitechapel, to give you guys an idea, was the ghettos of England.
Oh yeah.
They weren't holding the constables to any bit of whatever. They didn't trust the constables, which, if you guys, those are the police. Yeah. And even the Queen of England got involved and said, "Why are people not why are the constables not doing their job? Why are they not, preventing these murders from happening? Why are they not doing more? Why are we not doing more?" But there was no trust with the government. There was no trust with the cops. But it's always been that way because we tend to not trust people so easily. And those that are oftentimes very trusting of people are the ones that later become victims. Yeah, so it's like a part of our survival, because you got to remember there is millions upon millions of years of evolution, and we've been on this planet for however long, and all that goes right back here. As when you're born, you were born with this information. You don't know you have this information, but you eventually learn to walk, right? Walking is pretty fucking primal, right? What else is back there? Well, you've got the fact that, when a baby clenches your finger, do you know where that came from? When we were apes, we'd cling on to the finger of our moms, and they'd swing us through trees. That's still there. Fucking useless. Fucking, it doesn't need to be there anymore. But it's there. So what else is there? You've got nature versus nurture, which has been constantly argued and debated in psychology and in sociology, with the impacts that people have on each other, with the impacts of environment, the impacts that our parents have on us, and what the fuck brewed while we were in the womb.
Yeah, so
And creating us into what we are today. Some of us more functional than others. I will say I'm probably not the most functional, but I can say that I feel like I've got a fucked up view of the world, but that could also be a survival instinct.
It could.
So I get it that we're all people, we're all individuals, we're all, like I said, you're 110% on that. We're not mind controlled by anything. Matter of fact, I think we decide if we are mind controlled or not, whether you turn to religion, whether you turn to some sort of faith, whether you turn to stones, to witchery, to witchcraft, to being an atheist or agnostic, but there's still a principle that people abide by. There is always something above us, and whether we realize it or not, that is the case. James Church is basically having a conversation with himself. Oh, Sid is basically having a conversation with himself.
Just thought it was funny.
That was fucking hilarious. Touche. I am actually used to that because I have to do my own show for about anywhere between 60 to 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So I do kind of have to talk to myself.
Yes.
But I can direct the chat here. Let's see what Leroy Jenkins says. The hero's journey. It's how they keep our minds controlled. Sid is basically having a conversation with himself. And Mary J. Monarch says, I noticed that. I can look at the chat and address it. Nightbot says, the underground jams keep coming in, but we can always use more. Send them to in4records@gmail.com. Hashtag more day mixed down. Monday
mixed down.
Damn.
Like I said, I've had, God, how many months of practice have I been doing my own Sid talks?
Yeah, but yes.
You can write books, you just can't read them. Is that right?
Yeah, but I say it comes down to like people getting into the one tribe and shit.
Well, I want people to get mad. I want people to get angry. It's always been my mantra, and then that's one of the things that caused me to leave Rocks TV. They missed the positive, you Sid. I'm like, the positive me is what's going to get people hurt. All right, because they're going to make the bad decision every time because I'm endorsing something that I don't believe in. Case in point, we all preach world peace. We all talk about world peace. Here's the kicker. Anytime we've made an effort towards world peace, it gets fucked up. We've just made peace with the Taliban, and guess what ended up happening? It pissed off some of the people in Afghanistan. So how long will that peace last? There'll never be peace because there'll never be trust. What do they say in a relationship? For a relationship to work, you got to have trust, right? That's the same thing with world peace. You got to trust everybody. You got to trust that person that's going to stab you, maim you, rape you, beat you, take you outside, run you down, tie you to the back of a vehicle, and drag you down the fucking highway. You have to trust that people aren't going to do that to you. Do you walk around New York City feeling okay about yourself, or do you look over your shoulder on a regular basis?
I've never been in New York, but I'll probably be a combination of both.
And ladies, I ask you, Mary Jane, would you walk down a dark alleyway 2:00 in the morning in Boston, Massachusetts? And that's why there'll never be world peace, because you can't trust. I'm not saying you don't trust, therefore. I'm saying you cannot trust, because if you do that, you're letting your guard down. You're allowing yourself to become a victim. And the last thing I want to do is be any bit of a voice for victims. To be victims. If you have been a victim, I implore you to not be one. I don't want you to. I think it sucks. You have to walk down the alleyways in fear for your life.
Yeah,
I feel terrible about that. Us men.
She says constant alert mode in New York.
What'd she say?
Constant alert mode in NYC.
Constant alert. Okay. So that's humans that we are afraid are going to rape us. I'm certainly not afraid that a lion is going to come out and mount me out of my woods, mainly because lions don't live in North America. But if I was down in Texas, there's plenty of lions down there. I could get mounted by a lion, but I'm not afraid of a lion. I'm afraid of a human fucking being breaking into my apartment. I'm afraid of a human being trying to gun me down, beat my ass while I'm in a tent trying to sleep, a person jumping on it and beating the holy hell out of me and hoping some kid with a mohawk runs up and pulls me out of it. You can't be trusting. You can't turn your back for a fucking second. Now, I'm not trying to raise any bit of alert, but it's not like your government gives a fuck about you. And the people that talk about defending Trump, it's not like he fucking knows your name. Nor would he give a shit. No. You've got these heroes that you aspire to be like, and there's a reason why all my heroes are fucking dead, because I learned from their mistakes and what their words were. Like, don't do heroin, kids. you'll probably die.
Oh yeah.
You know, like when people are like, why do you look up to Sid Vicious? I'm like, because he's the exact example of what to do and what not to do. Like, hey, be this, don't do this. You know, don't kill kittens.
Yeah, well, Sid was told doomed from the beginning because his mom was a registered heroin addict.
Oh yeah, she was. And as a matter of fact, I think she was the one that gave him that final needle. I don't know if you've seen.
Yeah.
There's that show. What is the last 20 or the last 48, last 24, whatever it's called? It's called Last.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's on. I actually the pilot actually was Sid Vicious, which I found to be very interesting. It was on Tubi TV. It's still on there. I was actually watching that a couple days ago. But I find it interesting that people are like, "Oh, you don't like this person for this reason." I'm like, "There's a reason why we have this association." Okay. Remember when I've talked about how when people saw my hatchet man on my arm, it cost me dates. Like women wouldn't date me because I had a hatchet man on my arm. And guess what? It's still fucking there. So I don't wear it as a way to get laid because let me tell you something. It is a way to not get laid. That's just a fact. I wear it because of what it means to me. And I've tried having this conversation with Lord Zero, but you can't talk sense to a rock. You know, I can't go out and explain to the birds how a bird feeder operates. They just know that when they come here, bird food in the bird feeder. You know, you can't explain it to every living organism. Some of them are not very bright. But my my point still stands where it's what we do as people, what we decide as people, what symbols mean to us, what it means to us as individuals, not us as a group. If there was 5 people sitting in my room right now, I'd feel pretty okay for a few hours. If there was 30 people in my room for 2 or 3 hours, I'm gonna be a little fucking concerned.
Oh yeah.
You know, and I think that's something I want you guys to take away from this is be vigilant. Don't be trusting of everybody. Don't be trusting every single news source that you read because the news source that you trust may be your demise. You know, I don't want to instill fear into people, but I'm here to tell you there's people out there that don't give a fuck about you. You're a fucking dollar sign to them. You're a fucking write-off. You're a statistic. You're an anomaly. You're a whatever. Unless you've got billions of dollars in your bank account, I don't give a fuck about you. And to the people that are like, oh man, I'm close friends with this person because I shook hands with them at a meet and greet. I'm like, that's delusional and not healthy to think.
Did you just take a shot?
Incorrect. Because you met somebody during a meet and greet you paid for does not make you best of friends. Sid, but that's something that constantly happens in the underground too. I feel like there's kind of a mental illness with that, don't you think? I think that's what's the word I'm looking for?
That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Delusional.
Yeah. People.
Yo, did I hear you take a shot at fucking Lord Zero?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know if you've been paying attention on my show, but I've attacked that guy about 6, 7, 8 times. What is he going to come to my house and ensue violence on me? I mean, that's cowardly to do. I would hope, as much as I fucking hate the guy, I'd hope he'd have a little more decency than that. But again, can't have quite a conversation with a rock.
Damn. Yeah, I've been out the loop for a while.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what the fuck's going on.
I just know that I fucking hate the guy. It doesn't matter what's been going on, who's been saying what. I'll never tune into the Bender Boys. Matter of fact, if I read an article though that something had happened to him, I wouldn't shed a tear.
Damn. So, what caused the fighting out between you two?
What was that?
Oh, boy.
What caused the fighting out between you two?
He called me a racist.
Because of that one Sid patch.
Yeah, and check this out. Do you know what he said? Do you know what he said live? Do you know what he said live? And this was actually on your show. Did you pay attention to what he said to Casper? I went back and watched it. Do you know what he said?
Don't think of what did he say.
He said, and I quote, "Sid is too stupid to be a racist."
Damn.
So I had 2 questions. One, so I'm not a racist, but you still went around calling me a racist, even though you said, quote, I was too stupid to be one. And second, more important question, what high regard do you hold racists at to think that I'm too dumb to be one of them? Like there's some sort of like thing you can figure out, like, oh my God, they are a much higher thinking. Like the mammalian brain, guys. It's the racist brain that is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, like what IQ do you have to be a racist?
Right, and as a matter of fact, they've actually proven that racist people have a very small IQ. And I don't know if you know this, but I've clearly proven I do not have a low IQ. I probably have an average to a slightly above average IQ, but I think the average IQ in America right now is 100. So it's really not that difficult to surpass. If you're at 102, you're above average. And I think if you're below 75, you're considered mildly retarded. If you're below 45, congratulations, a golden retriever is smarter than you.
Yeah.
I don't make up the numbers. You can't get mad at me for saying that. I'm pointing out shit. Like I made up these numbers. Like I'm the one that's sitting behind my computer being like, all right, guys, so check this out. We're going to actually, I'm part of the campaign that discusses what IQ is what. Like I'm responsible for that. And that's what I'm saying. Like I say some shit and people are like, as if it was my fault or as if I created this to happen. I'm like, because I stated it, I'm part of, like, how dumb, how stupid are people? But that's what I'm talking about, man. Stupidity is what's eventually going to make us go extinct as well.
Hell yeah. Well, yes.
I mean, pay attention to what people are saying, and I'll come out here and I'll run my mouth and I'll talk shit. I do it on a regular basis. But as I had said on the Rocks TV show on multiple occasions, I know exactly what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. While to other people it may seem absolutely insane, crude, lewd, it might seem rude and offensive. I know why I'm doing it, and I'm not ashamed of it. I've learned how to play the game. I have learned a lot about people, and I found out that people are not that difficult to entertain. That's it. That is why I do things. I do shit for pure entertainment. And just to bring up things that I've read, heard, maybe misheard, maybe misread, maybe I got some false information myself, which is one of the reasons why we're supposed to have discussions.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see what the chat says. Somebody wrote underground alien balloon. Okay. Mary Jane says, let's be fair. You also said fun shit against juggalos. Wasn't that part of it, Sid? Yes. As a matter of fact, I joke around with juggalos on a regular basis. I still do it to this day. Oh yeah, outer space. But I've talked with juggalos about numerous things, you know. And there's actually a lot of juggalos out there that are quite fucking intelligent that I enjoy talking to. There's actually a gentleman, we were talking shit about juggalos on one of my shows, and this guy was curious about ICP songs that he should listen to, and I told him some songs that I really like that he should listen to. He wrote me back and he said, I'm glad I did that. Like, I love that song Terrible. There is a punk rock-esque to it. So yeah, I fuck with juggalos. I pick at them. I prod at them. But as my stepdad would say to me, if I don't pick on you and I don't make fun of you, it means I don't like you. So if I do that, it means I love you. Yeah. So I do this out of love, but I also ask questions. Like, I didn't jump to the conclusion that LSP and juggalos would be doing a Braveheart thing. I asked questions, yes to the ones that I had asked, and it caused my brain, again, a survival instinct, to be like, okay, so if X equals Y equals Z, then that is going to be a fucking problem in the future. Ooh, what is this?
Yeah, the whole LSP shit, I don't know what the fuck's going on there.
Check is getting analyzed right now. Analyzed. I'm getting my royalty check. Thank you guys for supporting my writing, by the way. Warlock side, I know you published Grains of Chaos. Again, I welcome reviews on my books. And fun fact, the juggalos who can't fucking stand me, you can write reviews all you want on Amazon. They never check it. But here's what happens. If you are not a verified purchaser of my novels, you will not come up as a verified purchase, but you're still able to write reviews of my book. And there's not a damn thing I can do about it. Well, what I can do is reply to them and say, this person clearly did not purchase the book because this is not what is in it. So if someone was like, this is an anti-Juggalo book, I'd write back and say, there's not even a fucking Juggalo featured in this novel. It's like Juggalos don't exist in the world.
Well, but on that note, I'm going instinct to. I got a few things to do around the house soon.
Yeah, I gotta go grocery shopping. But Warlock side, Scottish Misfit, it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you guys for having me on. And if you guys would please stay in touch with Tales of the Lotus, maybe you'll see me again on here. Yeah. I'll piss you guys off some more, get you guys to think a little bit more. Please catch me live on Sid Talks every Saturday and Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you ain't down with any of this, fuck what you guys think. I'm gonna see you guys real soon. Mark my fucking words. Much love, guys.
Much love.
Much love, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Hell yeah, y'all. We out this bitch.